Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are... Welcome to a Monday edition of the EST Hangout. Tom Gazzola, Gerry Moddejonge for postmedia.nhl.com, and then the one and only DVD, as well as Benny Thompson. Hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, boys.
How you doing?
Morning.
I'm very tired.
Tired of what?
I golfed yesterday.
Plus, it's only been a full hockey season plus about the longest playoffs you can have again.
Yeah, there's that old thing.
Yeah.
Busy boys over here.
You're trying to jump into summer, make up for lost time.
Yeah.
I get it.
Thank you.
There's
Gee,
no
you
summer.
understand.
Yeah, we had no summer.
No.
No, you didn't.
Summer's over as far as I'm concerned. Missed it. How'd it go?
It was great. You went to a football game on Thursday.
I
That
did
was
go
your
to a
summer.
football game.
Enjoy.
Yes.
The EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider, sentinel.ca. All right, boys. Of course, EST presented by Play Alberta, so we'll get to over-under in a little bit as well. It feels like it's a malaise after the hockey season. Can I say that? Does that seem right?
Yeah, malaise is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've decided to do a cleanse of all things hockey.
How does one do that?
I think you just blank slate and just be like, you know what, that was a ride. Enjoy it for what it was, and try to maybe recuperate, rest up next year.
Oh my goodness! In 2 months, we're going to be back at the rink. You know this, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll be back at the rink in a week, right?
Oh,
the draft.
Don't even say
Whatever
that.
they're doing. The draft is on Friday. They'll be doing their
The remote thing.
veils. Yeah, I think they're doing it. They're doing it like they do in the NFL this year.
This is one and done, though. Thank God.
They still have draft picks?
No.
They have 3 picks. One in the 3rd round. I think one in the 6th, one in the 7th.
Oh,
Isn't that the price of going deep into the playoffs 2 years in a row?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I imagine. Yeah.
A bit concerning, though, don't you think?
Well,
They'll just pick up half their squad off the waiver wire, just like last year.
Oh my
no
God.
problem.
It almost worked.
You know what? I will give Kasperi credit. He was a force at the end.
He was, actually.
You know who else was? If I might interject this into the conversation,
Please.
Jeff Skinner really impressed me at the end.
Really?
You know what? It seemed like at first why is he the only one trying out there? And then I realized, oh no, he's only played 2 previous playoff games. He was resting. He was rested up, which I think. I mean, in my mind, that kind of answers everything. Like, what happened? Like, why was it such a, just fade off into the sunset sort of ending of that? Is because they're a good team that ran out of gas. It took all they had in them to win that overtime game and come back from 3-0 in game 4. And that was their Stanley Cup, and they had nothing left.
Oof.
yeah, that was unfortunate. No, Jeff Skinner should have been in the lineup a little more. Chris Knobloch doesn't like him. He didn't like him. Like, he does a lot, but, he's a busybody, but he's a guy that has to score. But, yeah, he won't be back. A lot of guys won't be back. I'd be surprised if Vander Kane comes back.
He's not coming back.
No.
Can I say something? Did you get a new outfit?
What do you mean you out?
This is new. You got the skinny jeans. You got the new shirt.
No, I guess.
This is a new DVD.
Just used to seeing him on the job in all his NHL attire,
I
right?
know,
like
right?
they send him probably 3 or 4 articles a month. Like
do.
his closet's got to be full.
Yeah,
of
I got a
them.
whole NHL section.
It's all league issued gear.
It's a casual summer look.
So when he's hanging out in civvies, it's like,
What is happening
what
right
is
now?
wrong? What is wrong?
I know.
My civilian look.
I'm not wrong in being a little bit shocked here, am I?
This looks good. This
Yeah,
looks
it looks
cash
very good.
and
Like-
comfy. I like it.
You might go for a date. Maybe you get like a cheese platter with a nice lady.
Cheese platter. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Some vino.
Okay, Tommy, if somebody came up to you and said, dude, that shirt screams cheese platter, how would you take that?
Be like, well, I guess I have to get a cheese platter now.
Cheese platter and wine.
That's Gouda.
Oh, there we
terrible,
go. It starts
terrible.
off with a bang.
I know. You can text us 780-218-9999,
Please.
Paris Jewelers inbox. Do we have any expectations for draft? We've got so much to talk about, but do we have any
that's when
expectations?
if the owner's gonna make a trade, I think that's when they'll do it. They'll trade. If they can move Kane, mind you, he's got a no trade clause and
Modified.
But
They only have guys, like 9 guys with no movement clauses.
yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
Unbelievable.
Get rid of him. Ship him out.
It's tough for the new GM to come in here and do whatever it needs to do when you got old contracts, bad contracts, modified contracts. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what Stan Bowman does. I think Stan Bowman, he sees this team and he made some good moves and now it's his team now. And I think that, to be honest, I think the very first thing he does is go get a goalie.
You think so?
I
Big
think
G,
so.
what were you going to say? Your eyes lit up. there.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's going to be my question. Where does the Jeff Jackson decisions end and where does the Stan Bowman start? Like, at what point do we go back and say, okay, this is Stan's team? What was his move? Like, what has he done so far? Because it felt like there was such a hangover of Jeff Jackson. Not that it was all bad, but I mean, there was a transition period there from Holland, and it's like, when did Stan start being like, this is my team?
This is where it's interesting because I was told that they're a tandem. Jeff Jackson and the staff handled free agency last year, and they handled the Holloway Broberg thing.
Mishandled.
There's
Poorly.
A lot of people, yes,
Handled it poorly. How good would Holloway look on this team?
One of those.
That's the guy I would have kept.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone would have kept him. I think ego got in the way.
He would have been right there in the left wing of Draisaitl instead of Podkolzin. Not that Podkolzin was a big red X or anything like that, but it's a step down.
Yeah, letting that guy go
Absolutely.
was a mistake.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It was a mistake, and it was an ego-driven thing. And would you rather have Dylan Holloway or Jeff Skinner?
Well, and now they're
I think
complaining.
it's not even a question, right?
Yeah.
And now they're complaining about not having anything in the cupboard.
We knew
Bowman
they
said
didn't
it
have
himself.
anything in the cupboard.
Draisaitl said it.
Draisaitl said it.
McDavid.
Connor McDavid said it. I mean,
they all
it's no
alluded
secret.
that
Not
they-
that it was before, but now they are addressing
Looking at
it.
this team going, oh, we have nothing. What are we doing?
They let both those guys walk and then spent just as much money going out and trying to get replacements by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it's just bad. So my question is, when can we start blaming Stan Bowman for things? No, but obviously, I mean, that wasn't a Bowman thing. Thank
Well, I
goodness.
think it was part, like they were, they had a week to think about it. That's the thing, that they had a week to figure it out and you still screwed it up. Like, right?
Yes.
Like, you think you'd get over the initial upset of, oh, how dare these guys go and sign somewhere else. You get over it. You look at your roster. You look at a kid, your high draft pick. He's got nothing but upside. Yes, he's had struggles, and
Sure.
you don't let him walk and score 20 goals at another organization. Like, that's
He almost had 60. What do you have? 60
ridiculous.
points this year, Benny?
Yeah, he was close there.
Yeah.
You let to me, I understood letting Broberg go.
Yeah.
Like that was a high cap it for a guy that barely
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
But Holloway's, like, that money is absolutely manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was not a ridiculous contract where you can't pay that. Like it was doable.
The Broberg thing, like, guys, we've been in the room for a long time. He was not a happy camper.
no. Broberg wanted out. He thought that their like Broberg was upset with his development. Puljujarvi was upset with the way his development
Great
was handled.
AHLer right now, by the way.
A lot of guys have been upset with the way they've been handled in their development. Mostly European guys. They don't want to come here and play in the American Hockey League.
Sure.
So I don't know what they're told or what they're promised to come over. They come over and they're like, why am I playing in the American Hockey League? You said I'd be playing in the NHL. And I think it's a little bit of that, right? Development and things like that.
That's fair for sure. But Knobloch did play Broberg a lot in those playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a spring, but like, he's all of a sudden battle tested, playoff proven. And like, that might have been his, like, I could have seen him be okay with the new coach after that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was grumpy though, like, especially early, not this past season, but the one prior when he was still with the Oilers. You'd see him in the locker room and he was just
Well,
he was
he's like not playing.
well, yeah, but I mean, when he was playing early in that season, he wasn't playing well.
No.
He didn't have a good training camp, didn't have a good preseason, didn't have a good start to the year. So yeah, I think that Holloway would have been the guy. I'm surprised too, because that price point was good, and he would have been way better than Jeff Skinner.
63 points in 77 games.
Jeez,
26 goals.
Like,
decent.
that's to let him get away.
I remember the conversation being was he going to be able to become a top 6 winger in the NHL? And
Yes.
that was the debate. And then it was like, okay, like how many of those guys are in the NHL? It's his first year in St. Louis, he goes and like easily a top 6 winger in the NHL now.
That is true. Well, cupboards are full. Oh, so okay. Both guys mentioned that the cupboards are empty. What do we have here that we could look at? Sam O'Reilly. You got Bo Akey.
Boy.
Savoy, yeah.
And then, Matt Savoy. Then what? No Felt?
Maybe, I don't know. You just have no... Well, that's going to happen when you're one of the best teams in the league. You're going to have low draft picks. But to me, you got to spend money on your development and your drafting and development. And, sometimes they don't... That's where I think where this organization lacks is where it comes to finding guys. You got to stop taking advice from the wrong people. You got to find the right people to find guys. And
Whatever do you mean by that?
I'm just saying, stop taking advice from some certain individual.
Okay, I'm going to read this text. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999 out of Calgary. Oilers suck at drafting anyway, so no picks, no problem. Imagine letting Holloway walk for $2 million and signing Frederick for almost $4 million. Oilers logic. I'm hoping that Swedish goalie pans out. All from the same
4
text.
for 8 years, apparently, it sounds like.
Do you guys...
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
He did nothing in the playoffs.
He was
Reeks
hurt.
of desperation.
But still, he was hurt. I don't know. To me, he didn't move the needle at all. And now you're going to give him $4 million.
That's, just under. Sorry, I had somebody splitting hairs and be like, well, it's not exactly $4 million. It's going to be under $4 million, but over 3.5. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Still a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
But he thinks, apparently, and his camp thinks that he could go on the market and get 7 years at $4 million. And that's the counter to whatever Edmonton. And also, when he got traded here, apparently he was asking for 4+ with Boston on an extension.
Yeah, that's probably why he got traded. He didn't have a great playoff. A lot of people look at that. Yeah, he's hurt. He had an ankle sprain, whatever. But he just didn't have a great playoff. To me, what game was it where he should have ragdolled Bennett? He didn't. He waited too late to ragdoll Bennett. Oh, and Bennett's falling on your goal. It might have been game 2. Yeah, they won game. They lost game 2, but there was situations there where you went after Bennett late, but
That was game 3. Yeah, when they're getting their ass.
yeah. But I think there was a situation in game 2 where you should go have a conversation with that guy, right? If he's being that guy, to me, if Bennett falls on your goalie, then you have to go and fall on their goalie. That's that simple, right? When he trips over their goalie, oops, I'm sorry, I fell on your goalie. Then you got to go do that with him. If they rough up your stars, you got to rough up their stars. You got to go to Barkov. Hey, they keep whacking McDavid. Every time they whack McDavid, I'm going to whack you. That's how you end it. That's how you end all that shithousery, right?
Pardon me? What was that word?
Shithousery. That's how you end it. It's a tale all the time. Go to their stars and say, hey, buddy, Reinhardt, our guys are getting whacked and hacked and whacked. You're going to get whacked and hacked and whacked as well. But game 3, by that time, you're chasing these idiots around and, they're not doing anything. And I get it. Sam Bennett's a tough guy when the linesmen show up. Matthew Tkachuk's a tough guy when the linesmen show up. So, there's a way to do it, and the owners didn't do it properly.
Big G.
Well, now I'm torn between getting the bumper sticker of no picks, no problem, or hashtag shithousery.
We could get that made at William Hall. Bruce of the team can make. You bought those decals, you'll get them.
Yeah.
Big picture of DVD smiling beside it.
Yeah, no, it was a fun run, though. It was a fun run, and it was, it was unexpected. I don't think anyone...
You didn't expect
God.
it? I thought they would go to the Cup final.
No.
After the first
game
game,
3 against LA.
The first 2
Well,
games in LA,
I
you
thought
they were
that was
Cup
it.
final?
We're sitting. It was their first time at home. I was looking over at DVD. I'm like, this is it. We're out of plan your summer, pal.
I thought they'd only play 2 home games.
That was 2 months ago.
Yeah. Okay.
And had Quentin Byfield not flipped the puck out of the zone, they would have been down 3-1 going back to LA.
Oh yeah. Or they had 3 6-ons, and all LA had to do was hit the net once, and they missed all 3 times. One of those goes. That's it. But who came in and turned that around?
Cal Pickard.
Okay, but I'm thinking forward. First time we saw him.
Kane.
Yeah, man. He was single-handed. If that's all he's going to do is rest the whole year and come in and get you through the first round with that turnaround goal, man, worth it.
Do I bring up the investigation? Because both you guys work for the league.
Something's going on. I don't know. You know what? I don't know what that is behind the scenes, right? I think something must have happened when they said, "Listen, we can't." To teams, they said, "We can't do this anymore. We can't do what you did with Stone. You can't do what you did with Vasilevsky. Oh, not Vasilevsky. Kucherov. You can't do with what you did with these guys." And
Kane.
And then they said,
Patrick Kane. I think that was the first one with Chicago in like 2015.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the Oilers went and did it, and I think that's what they're kind of looking at. But
So that's why he
if
sat
you
out one.
don't want that to happen, then you got to have a playoff salary cap,
Right.
right? Like you look at what were the numbers? Florida was playing with guys. Was it $90 million?
94 million, I think, was game 6.
Yeah. So $94 million guys. Okay, well.
So Kane's salary didn't count towards the cap all year long? Is that how that works?
Exactly.
So make him start, like if you want to be eligible for playoffs, you got to pay for him the whole way long.
That's one way.
Nobody would do it.
Right. Well, they said the GMs were satisfied with the structure.
So they can all, as long as they're all cheating the same way.
Of course.
Yeah. If they're all cheating, you can't single one of them out. Well, I would say cheating. They're bending the rules. They're abusing the rules. Right. So, but I don't know what this Kane situation was. I don't know how bad his situation was. And
It all, like G said, it all started with that goal where he goes to the net, changes things around. Jim Hillard, awful challenge.
terrible challenge.
And then Andrew, the accountant, says, well, the Panthers actually went to the net, unlike the Oilers all season.
Yeah, no, they went to the net. They fell on, like the Panthers are a good team. Don't give them credit. They're a good team. And they were getting stronger as the series went along. I think the Oilers had to win game 2 to kind of put pressure on them. But they were getting, as the series went along, Reinhart was getting healthier. Kachuk was getting healthier. Guys were making up, Barkov was just defensively, he was unbelievable. Like he was on McDavid's hip the whole series. So, Connor McDavid couldn't do much about him. But
Joel, all caps. Good morning, Joel. Joel says, that's a whole bunch of, we'll say poop. Vegas takes out Stone like every year. Kane had 6 surgeries. Come on, do better, NHL. That's from Joel. And then this text says, Kachuk was quote-unquote injured in Game 82, was fine in Game 83 somehow. That is true.
Nice.
Remember he suffered the injury right after the Four Nations, or at Four Nations face-off? Yeah.
Yeah, I like how Kachuk wasn't even the most Kachuk thing that the Oilers faced in that round.
That's right.
Right? Like, talk about the greatest trade deadline acquisition.
Brad Marchand.
I mean, I thought at first it was Rantanen, because, did he have it? Opening series against his old team. Oh, my. It's like, man, that was the greatest trade. And then, no. Marchand just
that was a big deal. Getting Marchand.
Just digging under every single Oilers player he could and just turning it up. He out McDavid.
Well, he's just a greasy little player. I'm surprised more people don't punch him in the face. He does the helmet thing, right? When he's in the, you notice that? The scrum, he'll take his chin and he put his chin like this and he puts his helmet down so no one can punch him. I saw him do it like 4 or 5 times.
And you were there.
I was there. And he does, there's the helmet thing. He does. So if you're going to punch him, you have to uppercut him.
Right.
Or punch him.
Well, he's a little guy. He's like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
How was the celebration there?
Oh, it was the same. They took the bar to the elbow room. They took the cup to the elbow room, and they've been partying there since.
And they broke the cup in a couple of different places.
Yeah, they banged it up. They banged it around. I think they cracked it once, and that cup's been replaced and repaired so many times.
That is true.
Guys throw that thing around, toss it around. So, no, it was the celebration. It's funny because the owners wanted to get the hell out of there as quick as possible. They're like, let's go. Last year, I think they hung around the dressing room for a little bit and try to absorb the loss. This year, like, let's get out of here. Let's go.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
No. I'm surprised they didn't fly home that night. I don't know they can't fly home that night, but
yeah. Okay, so what do we expect by draft day? Not much.
I don't expect anything. Draft day, third round pick. Like you're not going to get, So if anything, they're going to try and make some deals. Maybe they'll get a deal for a pick in the second round. Who knows? Like who knows what they're going to do? But there's not much out there, right? I don't know how much. It's going to be interesting how much movement there's going to be with the GMs and everyone not in the same place. Like everyone's going to be in their war rooms here.
Yeah.
And so they'll all be on the phone and stuff.
Be a heck of a group chat.
As opposed, you can't.
That's pretty much what it is, like a conference call.
Yeah. Like you can't, like before you just walk up to a gym and say, hey, what about this for this? What about this for this? And then you sit there and talk about it. Then now it's like everything, it's so impersonal now. I don't know how much movement there's going to be. Mind you, last year, 2 years ago, there wasn't a single trade in the first round. Because I know that because I was on Trade Watch. And they're like, you're on trade watch at the draft. All right, sounds good. And I waited and waited, not a single deal.
Was that at the Sphere?
No, that was the one before. That was the one in Nashville.
No, okay.
Nashville. And so there wasn't a lot of movement then. I don't know if there's a lot of movement now. It's going to be interesting to see how the teams in the East kind of, because now you're going to have to beat the Panthers, right? That's the standard. So are you close enough? Like, what are the Leafs going to do? They blow up that team, they're going to lose Marner. Well, now what happens?
I don't.
Now
I watch the chaos from a distance.
If you look at the Leafs, you're like, man, okay, they were Game 7 of Florida, so you're not that far away. So why would you blow it up? But you're not keeping Marner for whatever reason. He's out of there.
Well, I would leave too. I mean, the way it's all imploding.
Yeah, but I don't know. So now, and like Stan Bowman said, you don't let star players walk away. You know, like Colorado's going to regret Granton, and these guys going to regret Marner leaving.
That's a terrible move for Rantanen.
Yeah,
to trade him. Both teams.
Well, Carolina, I don't know what they were doing. Carolina to me is
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Big G?
Their window is closed.
I don't know, man. If these guys are, if Bowman came out and said in his exit interview, "I love the defense, we're bringing them all back," then to me that just reinforces your notion that they're going for a goalie. And does that start at the draft? Do they start pushing buttons? And
they got to trade for one. They got to
and
trade Stuart Skinner. And you know what? Stuart Skinner is going to be a great goaltender when he's 29, 30, 31, 32.
So package him up.
But
with
the Oilers don't have that time because their window is not that long. So they need a 31, 30-year-old, 32 goalie now that can stop the puck, as opposed to one that's still developing. Like he's still developing. Stuart Skinner's a great goaltender.
How do you trade a guy that has played 3 years in the NHL, 2 Cup
All-Star
finals,
game,
and Calder finalists?
Because you need a guy now that'll win right now. Like Stuart Skinner is a good goalie, but he didn't give you the big save when you needed him. The other guy did.
I agree with that part.
Right? And he has tendencies to kind of zone out. Like that third goal in Game 6.
Oh, the blocker
What are you
stopped
doing?
where it landed right in
Where
front of
the
him, and he
puck
just
is
watched
flipped
it.
to him and he blockers it away. I'm like, that's just...
He tried to squeeze it, he said. That was his quote post-game. There's no squeezing.
There was no squeeze. He didn't do one of these.
Yeah.
Like I think he tried to look this. I don't know. And then he gave up on the play and then, it's in the net.
Yeah.
So do you package him with that third round pick and try and swing something?
I'd be trading Calvin Pickard, to be honest with you.
He's got some.
I don't know what you're gonna
He's
get.
got some cachet right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
And it's not going to last long because he's on the.
Yeah, he's 33 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy I think you get rid of, and then you keep Stu with whatever other guy you bring in. And
Okay.
that's how I would do it, at least.
It would be hard to get rid of Stu in my mind. Whoever gets him, if that happens, is getting a steal. Because you're right, 3 years away from dominating. How old is goalie Bob?
35.
Well, okay, so
36.
they just get better.
Yeah.
They just get better.
Yeah, well, like the more experience you get better. Like I said, Stuart Skinner's gonna be a great goalie.
But you're right. If McDavid signs for 4 years, he's going to hit that sweet spot right after that, and then you hope you get the captain back.
I think that one's a bit tricky. And then, okay, like if we look at Bobrovsky started out in Philly, and he did not have a good go. It wasn't until he got to Columbus where he really started to take off.
Yeah, but then even then early on in Florida, he lost his job to Florida, and then people said that's the worst contract in hockey.
Right.
Right, and then he was able to turn it on. Maybe it's
because they had Spencer Knight, they had Chris Drieger. Remember Chris Drieger? People were like, this is the guy the Oilers should go get.
No.
He's not even in the league anymore.
No, it's tough with goalies. It's tough to now the one What if they had traded for Markstrom? What if they got Jacob Markstrom?
Do you think they would have won a cup by now?
I think yes. I think they would have. I think that if they got Markstrom, I think they would have got past Vegas 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think they would have probably beat Florida last year, and I don't know if they would have, if it would have worked out. But that was a mistake. Bona fide goalie. He wanted another year, and you didn't want to give him another year. Really? And then you go and get Jack Campbell. Like, that's a colossal mistake. That's costing him our Stanley Cup.
Still paying for Jack Campbell.
There's going to be paying for Jack Campbell for next,
4 years.
Yeah. They bought it. Like, why would they give him a 5-year contract? Like, that's just bad management. Like, and I love Kenny Hollett, but that's just bad management.
Wow.
And we all know that, it was, Brad's decision.
They're friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't sign your friends. Don't do business with your friends. Like, that's just...
For the record, I'd sign you two up any day.
Thank you,
probably
G.
lose your job.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, I'd sign
It'd be a
these
heck
guys.
of a ride for those 2 years
Yeah.
before anybody caught on.
I'd give them 5 years, $5 million per.
Yeah.
No
We've
problem.
been talking trades. Elliot Friedman reported, like literally just a couple minutes ago, that in Anaheim, talks for Trevor Zegras are like heating up, and he expects a trade as early as this week. So draft, where do you think he goes?
And what's his value?
Yeah.
Because there's a guy that came in with a lot of panache,
Yeah.
and it's kind of fizzled out in Anaheim.
Because I was getting, like, I think we've talked about this at some show recently. It's like, is he going to become a superstar like his
No.
projection was at the start? Like that's when he's kind of fizzled out for the most part over the past couple of years.
Super talented.
Yeah.
Like, remember Maxim Afinoganov? He
Yeah.
would score those like crazy goals like 20 years ago, but he'd only get like 15 a year. But they're highlight reel goals, and
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Oh, this guy's awesome." Then it's like didn't play defense, wasn't strong or physical,
Yeah.
and
Problem with those guys in Anaheim, like they had those young kids in Anaheim. It was kind of like the young kids here in Edmonton when Taylor Hall and they were just thrown to the wolves. Mm-hmm. And they're thrown to the wolves, and they have no kind of buffer, no experienced guys to help them along. And then you get beat down after a while. You're like, like that. To me, that's what happened with the older guys this year. Eventually, it was too much.
yeah.
You're asking too much of them. So
Magnus Paajarvi begs to differ. I'm just kidding.
Magnus Paajarvi. Yeah. You look at those kids; they're all supposed to be star players, and
Yeah,
they all kind of
okay.
fizzled out.
But look at the Ducks really quickly, because if things are heating up, then it's worth talking about. They've got Mason McTavish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Troy Terry has kind of become their leading scorer. Zegras has been hurt and then kind of floundering, and sounds like he's got swagger, obviously. They went and they get Chris Kreider. They have Trouba. Who else do they have at forward?
Killorn.
Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, go to.
And then who's the other one you just?
I just mentioned Killorn as like a veteran guy. Like Alex
Killorn's there, yeah.
On the back end, Minchikov is really good. Zellweger.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys that are supposed to turn out to be good.
So it feels like Zegras is kind of falling
Yeah.
between the cracks. So.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if Quenneville likes
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be expedited.
Well, they're going to trade him. That's what Frege is saying right now. They're going to trade him.
Well, yeah.
Where do you think fits for him? I think Montreal personally.
I think he ends up in Buffalo, and then it's
Yeah,
just like
I guess yeah.
we never hear
Buffalo's where
from
people
him.
go
again.
to die.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like,
Why would anyone want to go to Buffalo?
I don't think anyone wants to go to Buffalo.
These guys leave Buffalo Sunday.
Well,
their
he's
star
from the
players
area. He's in New York.
Is he?
He's a New York kid. Yeah. So
If he goes to Jersey, it's too much of the same player, right? Like
Yeah.
Hughes and
yeah, it's with his friends though. He's good, he's good buddies with Hughes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, we're this close to getting the Stanley Cup and the Mem Cup in the same province in the same year.
That would have been pretty sick.
What a time to be alive, hey?
That is a good point.
Like it's hard to look back at that and be like, it was whatever, failure of a season because it didn't quite get it. But man, that is like reaching for the stars.
No, it's it's back to it's back to expectations. Remember the expectations here in Edmonton. Let's just make the playoffs. Let's start it with let's just have meaningful games in January. Let's make a playoff run. Let's get in the playoffs. And now we're like, everyone's disappointed because they didn't win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Get
But-
game 6.
But that's where it should be. You've got Connor McDavid and Connor McDavid Jr. on the same team. Like, how does that ever
You're gonna look
how does
back
that ever happen?
You're
to
going to
a
look
team?
back at this window of 10 years and you're going to say to yourself, they screwed it up.
Yeah, how? How did they know? How
screwed it up.
how is any member of management involved in that organization over the past decade not walking around with a paper bag on their heads because they don't have
Because they did not
one thing
put
to show.
the proper team around them.
You were handed that lottery ball, handed them, and it all happened. A new building came out at the same time. It's like, here we
Are
go.
you saying they're not going to be able to win, G?
I'm saying up to this point.
Yeah, okay.
They have.
might.
You can't count all 10 years.
They might, but I think they obviously the window's closing quickly, and
You think so?
You should have something to show.
I think
for
within
it by
4 or
now.
5 years that window's done.
Yeah, in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you know how quickly 4 or 5 years goes by. 4 or 5 years last. It wasn't that long ago. Like 4 years ago, what they were
4 years
playing-
ago was 4 years ago.
Yeah, but they're remember they got to the Western Conference Final. Like, okay, this team's gonna
Yeah.
Western Conference Final. Okay, take a step back the year after, and then you get like it goes by quick.
Cup finals are no guarantee, man. Look at 06. That was 18 years in
Yeah.
between. Like,
But that was a Cinderella run. Now they're expected to be good. Now they are good.
But why
But
can't you springboard that?
You still need luck. You still need injuries. Not that. Like, this to
for
me,
sure.
obviously that the Hyman injury was huge.
Yeah.
Mason Marchand taking a run at him. Took a run at him and he broke his wrist. So, yeah, it was unfortunate.
Okay, before we transition to the next segment, I'll ask you guys this. What do you make of the mood around the city the last week? Or 6 days, I should say.
It's just been kind of just like, it's been blah. I don't know. It's been like, I think last year it was such disappointment and it took a while for people to get over disappointment. This year, they were resigned to the fact that, okay, we lost. It was a fun run. And it just, I don't know, it's been a weird, okay, let's start the summer. It'd be nice if it was plus 30 out, then you can actually go out and start the summer. It's still kind of gloomy out. And,
Gee, what did you make of the last
Haven't thought about it. Hockey cleanse,
Really?
remember?
You're doing the hockey
Till I
cleanse?
came in and sat down here.
Oh, I'm
And then
sorry.
it's all coming back.
I'm sorry.
No, it was good. It was it's been, listen, I've covered 3 playoffs now. I've been covering 2 regular seasons. This has been a heck of a ride this team has brought me on.
Yeah.
So I've got 0 complaints. If they can get over the hump I looked back, I think there were 4 teams in the history of the NHL who lost 2 in a row and then came back and won the Stanley Cup the next year. And I think there were a couple who just flat out lost 3 in a row. So could go either way. But hey, man, if they're in contention again, that's all you can ask for. Just give it another go. Give it another run.
Yeah.
Don't have that early round out and just see what they can do.
I have a prediction. This is obviously a very early prediction, but this is what I think is going to happen next year. I think they're going to have a pretty good year, regular season, and then they're going to lose in the first or second round.
that's coming, because that happens to good teams.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of hit a wall or whatever, and then they come back even stronger in 26, 27.
Like, you can't keep playing into June every year and expect to come back stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, you need some time off. You need a time when you're
Florida
done.
did it, as people will point out, but
3 in a row is pretty good.
that's what I think is going to happen.
No, it's possible.
Benny, you just
Would
going
you
to
look
agree
at
with
what
me?
teams in the
No,
West?
I
What teams
agree
in the
with
West? What teams in the Western Conference are right there, ready to?
Dallas is
challenge ours?
always there in the Western Conference Final.
Dallas, Colorado.
Yeah, that should not have been a first round meeting, right?
No.
That was a
I have a question about the Avs. Do we give them too much credit?
they're always hanging around.
I know.
They're always there.
They're always there. So they got the best defenseman in the world, one of the best forwards in the world.
Yeah.
But they don't have 2 of the best forwards in the
Well,
world
does
anymore.
that trade come back and bite them
That
even
trade
harder?
comes back and bite
Even
them.
harder
You don't
this
trade-
year.
you don't
Did
trade
they,
that guy.
Yeah.
Was that the edge of a cliff that they were staring down?
Yeah.
And when Rantanen single-handedly defeated them,
Yeah.
are they on the downside?
You don't trade
Their
that guy.
That's a
goaltending
good
isn't good
question.
either.
To me, they're like that was the only team in the West that if you're the Oilers, like that's the only team to compete with the Oilers in star power until they traded Rantanen. Like
Yeah.
they had Rantanen, McKinnon, and McCarr to go up against the McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, whoever you want to throw in as that third. Like
Yeah.
that was ridiculous. And Marty Nashis is a great hockey player, but it looks like they might trade him too. Like
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, that was a long turnaround in 1 year to go all in basically and then lose in the first round. Obviously to a very good team, but like
What is Vegas now?
There's at some point Vegas is gonna have to fall. They're gonna fall off the cliff, don't you think? Like,
But they always
Well,
find
they
a way
kind
to,
of go
yeah.
they always find a way. Yeah.
up, down. Yeah.
Yeah.
wonder if they get Marner.
Utah.
You've been saying Utah for a while.
I don't think Marner's going to Utah.
You don't think did you go to Utah this year?
No, I do not.
You didn't. I don't know how appealing Utah is to star players,
No, I don't know.
you know?
Speaking of star players, we get the Olympics in February, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, is it true that the Four Nations face-off had more viewers than the Stanley Cup final?
Yes.
Well,
Stanley
that's-
Cup final numbers were down.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Like
That would make
people
sense.
are screaming for this best on best stuff. Give them what they want. Like that's gonna be a major impact. Did the Four Nations face off take a little more than expected out of McDavid? Like, was there
question.
a
that's a good
cooling
question.
off point where he had
But
to?
he was injured for the last 2-3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Him and Leon
Him and
got a
Leon.
lot of time off because they were injured.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't mind when teams do that. It's because it's not keeping him injured all season long.
Right.
And I think we might be seeing more of that because Florida did kind of the same sort of thing.
Yes, they did.
Like, you can rest guys down the stretch. It's almost the opposite of how teams used to. Bottom teams used to tank and try and get remember the be bad for Ekblad sort of
Oh,
idea
yeah.
where, the worse you do, the better chance you get. That's the whole reason for the lottery balls
Right.
in the first place, right? Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't just so what if we see that the top teams like they do in football? Oh, this game's meaningless. We're resting all.
Rest these guys.
Well, rest the guys for the whole playoff stretch. Who cares? Because obviously, what did Florida finish third in the Atlantic? Edmonton finished
Third in the Pacific. Yeah.
So who? As long as you're not on the cusp, one of those wild card, like as long as you make it for sure, are you going to really press the gas to bump up to second place? How much did home ice advantage make a difference
0
this year? It did not.
Yeah.
No, it didn't at all.
But resting guys, if they would have had another little bit more gas in the tank, maybe those last 2 games would have been closer.
That is fair. I do think about that. And I do think you're right. We probably see more of that next year.
Yeah.
It's a blueprint.
Yep, exactly. A couple of texts before we proceed. Jason Leduc says, high expectations are key to a winning culture. Dallas, by the way, is declining. Bronco Nick, good morning. Bronco Nick says, Zegras goes to New York, either Rangers or Islanders. Islanders looking to make a big splash, get that first overall pick. Joel yelling a lot. And then another text says, trading Skinner will bite the Oilers in the butt like trading Talbot and Dubnyk did. Is it goaltending or is it a deeper-seated issue?
No, it's not goaltending, but you need, like, you look at Bobrovsky, and when he needed to make that unbelievable save to bail out his team, he made it. And you can't say the same thing about Evan Dubnyk.
Dude, he was doing split saves at the end. It
But
was
at the end,
ridiculous.
you need him to,
Fast legs.
yeah, you need him to bail
Stacking
out.
pads.
You know, like, you knew Bouchard was going to make one terrible giveaway a game.
Oh,
So if you can bail him out there, right? Like, that's where he gets. It's just think that was to me the difference. Like, when the Oilers turned the puck over, and made mistakes, you need your goalie to bail you out. And there's too many times where he didn't. Where he just didn't. Like, it was just.
Another text says, boys, the plan was for Skinner to be the backup to Campbell. So
Exactly.
he should have been just taken over.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree with that 100%. It is not Stu Skinner's fault that this organization put all their eggs in one rookie basket, and I think he did phenomenal for what
To me, his
for what he
progression
can
is
do.
fine, right? But they need a.
But they're out of
They
time.
don't need a developing goalie right now, right? In the window, they need a solid, established goalie.
He was
Stu
he was
Sturridge-
forced into this jam, and I think he's handled it very
Oh,
well.
yes.
He took a step back this year, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving up
and
on
still
him.
made the. Well, I mean, he needed help,
I
obviously.
need a lot of help from Calvin
Yeah.
Baker, who had a marvelous.
Can't
probably
ask
one of
more.
one of the best backup
Can't ask
goalie
more.
seasons
Yep.
of all time, probably.
Can ask more from him.
Oh, God, we could talk about this forever. All right. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of EST. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out at thehiveproductmarketing.com. Tom Gazzola, Ben Thompson with Gerry Moddejonge and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Big G from Post Media. We'll get to more hockey talk in hour number 2. You guys follow the football team. I know you were at the game. I was working the game. We talked about a little bit on Friday. 0-2, the Elks. Montreal's a really good team. Winnipeg's killing everybody.
And then they have Ottawa, so
And then they get
they'll be
Ottawa.
1-3, not 0-5 for the first time in 4 years, right?
Yeah. Do you see some glimmers of hope?
Man, I want to. I want this team to give not only give this city a reason to pay attention to them again. I want this team to get back to the point where you can't possibly ignore them anymore.
Yeah.
For way too long, they've been the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. And I like what they're doing. This new ownership is, in my mind, the same thing as that McDavid lottery ball in 2015. It just breathes new life in the organization. They needed it badly. And private ownership was the only way, in my mind, that it could go. And all the pieces are falling in place. I like this new rookie head coach and Mark Killam. He's been, one of those guys who is just kind of there waiting for who would give him his shot, and it turns out to be Edmonton. It's a tough task though coming in here, and because, I mean, you don't have time to learn on the fly. Head coach is a lot different than special teams and assistant head coach, and he was in Calgary for a long time.
20 years.
What assistant stays in the same place forever? Some coaches' careers aren't 20 years, and he's in the same place. So he comes here, man. And let's not forget, he would have gotten that U of A job back in 2013. And, it ended up going to Chris Morris.
Right.
Because Huffnagel didn't want to let him go.
Gave him more money, right?
He
Is that the story?
threw 25 more grand at him.
That's a lot.
And Mark's like, okay, I guess I'm staying. So interestingly, I mean, that job goes to Chris Morris, who, man, he did a lot of legwork in trying to get that organization, that program back. Because the U of A for the longest time, I mean, they were almost to the point where the Oilers expect the fans just to keep showing up and they don't have to try. The U of A was like, oh, you come here, get a degree from the U of A. We don't have to pay, like, give players money to come on. So he had, like, everything he did. He wanted to bring in a top recruit. He had to go out and raise the money for him. Everything along the way. So, I mean, that just showed, all the brass with the double E that, hey, this Chris Morris guy works. So, and what a great, and out of left field decision. And I couldn't imagine, it any differently than the way it's worked out. And then to bring in Killam, just kind of funny how things work out. But man, I want to see Killam succeed. But the same thing, they're almost in that Stu Skinner situation where they don't have a year to, rest and relax and say it's all going to come together. They need to win now, because if it's just going to be more of the same, people are going to roll their eyes and be like, oh, I thought there were changes coming. And let's not beat around the bush. The elephant in that room is they need a quarterback, and they've needed one for a long time. And everybody loves Trey Ford. I get it, but he's also not a rookie, and there has to be a reason he wasn't given the opportunity to be the number one guy that he's getting now. And maybe it takes this new crew coming in, new regime coming in, saying, hey, you're our guy. Let's see. I'm just not 100% convinced that Trey Ford is a starting QB in the CFL right now. Even he's got all the tools to do it, but I think sooner or later we're going to see Fajardo come and get in, and people are like, oh, whatever. Fajardo's 2 years removed from a Grey Cup MVP.
Yes.
And that was a great move to go out and get too. Now, is he the answer long term as well? I don't think so, but they just need to find, they need, I mean, are you going to get another Mike Riley? Are you going to get another Ricky
Is there
Ray?
another Mike Riley in the league right now?
Yeah.
They gotta be. I mean, at some point. But you just
Right.
You just got to get him. I just don't know if Trey Ford is the answer. Hopefully he proves me wrong, and we see flashes of brilliance.
I know. And people talk about when in the game, especially last week against Montreal, like they started lighting it up late when the game was out of hand.
When Montreal's in prevent D. And
Well, they're
Right.
playing their second stretch
Garbage
too.
time.
Right.
It's garbage
Now,
time.
keep in mind, they go into BC week 1, right? That's a huge game for BC. Nathan Rourke has an
Rourke was
outstanding
so
performance.
good.
Okay, so they get a bye week in week 2, so you kind of
hurts.
forget about them, right? That kills any momentum. Week 3, they get Montreal, that's just crushing everybody right now.
Yeah.
And then you go into Winnipeg. Dusty read it out. In the last 44 Bombers home games, Winnipeg is like 38-6.
Ridiculous.
So, like, how do you balance that? Like, listen, they're probably going to have a tough time in Winnipeg this weekend. Let's not kid ourselves. You're trying to get Trey to get traction as a number one, but you're playing against two of the best teams in the league, and then you get just murdered by Nathan Rourke in week 1, where you're all coming together. Like, I think you need to have a little more patience than a few weeks, right? I understand having Fajardo in your back pocket, but
Well, he's obviously showing that, because I thought for sure he was going to go to Fajardo at some point during that game on Thursday, but he just stuck with Trey Ford.
yeah,
The issue I have with Ford is that he's a chaos quarterback where it has to be chaos for him to be successful. He can't run a play, can't throw a ball, he can't throw the out, can't throw the ball. Like it's just got to be like, okay, let's just break the broken play. Let me run around and make something happen. Like you can't do that every play. That happens everyone. You got to run the play, whatever play that is, you know, like, and I think that there wasn't enough of just drop back and throw the ball deep. Let's see what happens. Like they don't do that. And I don't know why, because he's what
had
you
one
would call,
pass from the pocket.
but he's called a one read and run quarterback. Goes back, makes his one read. If the guy's covered, then I'm going to run. And that's the issue with him. He's a one read and run quarterback. And then he thrives in the chaos, right? But at times you can't every play can't be chaotic. You can't every play. Like you got to have some, methodical move the ball down the field. And then you have a chaotic play. And then, like you look at the Alouettes, like the way they move the ball up and down the field, there was very few chaotic plays. Elks, there were nothing but chaotic plays. And so I think that's what's got to get cleaned up here.
Man, you can throw, you can run. That doesn't make you a QB. It takes something else. You have to have that leadership, that more we than me. And that's the one thing that I haven't seen from Tre Ford. How much would Chris Jones have loved for him to work out after he made that trade with the first overall draft pick and got McConzo? Who was that linebacker? Anyways, started right away.
Yeah.
And then Ford in the first round. So he turned one first rounder into two and got Tre Ford. How much would he have looked like a genius had Tre Ford worked out? There was a reason he was sitting on the bench, and not just his first year either. And the whole thing is they're asking him to do things, and Chris Jones liked to put QBs on special teams and make them kind of earn their pay that way. And he just wasn't having any of it, and just seemed to not be that team guy. And that's when Chris Jones just said, no, this isn't my guy. But so the new regime comes in, and hopefully, he's old and more mature maybe, and this is the chance he needs. But we got to see it.
Yeah.
They can't be 0-5. They can't be 0-7. They can't be 0-8. Those were their starts over the last 3 years. And Winnipeg is Winnipeg. I'll give them that. But you just got to still go in there and work on your craft. Show that you can lead this team through a loss. Not just, anybody can be a leader when times are great.
Right.
And then beat Ottawa. They got to beat Ottawa.
That's what I was going to lead to, is like, you get that win against Ottawa, regardless. Listen, they probably lose this weekend. Let's not kid ourselves. Who knows? Maybe you get a surprise. But you got to beat Ottawa, like you said, Jerry. How much does that quiet things down, give him a little bit more leeway?
It's a step up. It's better than they've been able to do the last 3 years.
Right.
The problem is you have to see improvement from week to week. And was there improvement from week 1 to week 2? I didn't see week 1. I was busy with
week 1 did not go well. They were leading at half, but it was a minimal lead. Was it like 7-6?
Yeah.
And then BC just dominated especially in the fourth quarter. But last week, you were at the game. Like, did you go to that game?
No, I did not.
Montreal was
I was coaching football.
You were coaching football. We'll talk about that in a bit. Montreal just crushed them in that first half. And Davis Alexander, like if Montreal needed to, Davis Alexander could have finished that game.
Yeah.
You went and talked to him after.
Yeah, he said as much. Yeah.
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 At the bar.
At the bar. Yeah. He said he was fine. He could have came back, but he didn't want to.
He was going to his brother's wedding, so he was staying behind. The team stayed behind. Then he was flying to his brother's wedding in Phoenix. But I thought that was funny. He came to our favorite place.
Of course, good old water.
He should have been a tank top, a white tank top.
Yes, he did.
And because if my arms were that big, maybe I'd do that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you went in there and you beat the Elks, and you're the starting quarterback. You didn't have to finish the game because you got a bit nicked up. And he went in there with his girlfriend, good-looking girl. So I'd go, if I was in that stature and had just done that to the team I was playing against in their city, I'd walk in like that too.
Tommy, I'd kick the door open and I'd play Pink Pony Club just for the heck of it.
Thank
after
you.
That too.
Oh, wonderful. I still
Pony.
don't understand that song.
Me neither.
The Pink Pony Club song? Why they play it?
We didn't get to the bottom of that, did we?
No one would talk about
Nobody
it.
wants to talk about it. That's okay.
So
anyway,
I think it's some sort of a shot to the LA Kings.
I think so too. We'll do some investigating.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to get your thoughts on them. I think there needs to be some patience. Like this is,
and that's where they're stuck. They don't have time to be 0-8 and learn for half the year again.
No, you need results. Some interesting developments in and around the stadium, you can already see the private ownership having an impact.
Yeah, apparently we don't have a media center anymore.
It's very small.
Don't have a media center.
It's
really?
it is now the owner's suite.
The media center.
Yeah.
The Brian Hull owner suite.
Well, it's tiny now. Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, where are they putting the media guys? Like,
Oh, like in one. Go ahead.
There are
describe.
no media guys. That's the thing.
Well, it was full when I was there on Thursday. I popped
okay,
in
great.
there.
Good.
Yeah.
I take it back.
Who was in there?
But it was like it's like a third of the size of what it used to be. Stoff was there.
okay.
Hernan
well.
was there.
Working media, we're talking.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't working.
No.
Yeah, he was just.
just-
Canadian press. Good. You know what?
CP was there. Yeah.
Bless their hearts. Canadian
Yeah.
press is carrying the water for
Yeah,
that.
I think Avery was there.
Working. Working media.
Yeah.
Working media.
Not hanging on the wall flower.
Oh, anyway, it was funny because I was getting ready for the start of the game, and I was talking to someone, and I'm like, "Oh, the media press box is way different now," and they're like, "Yeah, see, you can see Larry's and the owner's suite. You see those pot lights there in the ceiling, and it looks like it's actually from this century." I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "That's all the owner's suite." I'm like,
Did they put up a wall or something?
"Yes."
They put up a wall.
There's a
half
wall.
the media center.
I think there's like glass you can look through
So
windows.
it's president's box in the corner still.
Yeah.
And then owner's suite. And then
It's president's, or I think it's like GM's,
okay, yeah.
and that one
GM's
corner
box.
with the glass, where they were
Yeah.
before, and then there's like a small section that's media, and then the rest is like owner's suite, and then broadcast.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
No.
He could do whatever the hell he wants.
Good on them, man.
Yeah,
Dude, use that space.
exactly.
yeah, but it's not being used. There was times
For
when I
Grey
first-
Cup, it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
I remember first going
yeah.
there, and that press box was jammed. Eh?
Oh man,
There's
you're
so many
not
people
kidding.
up there.
You are not kidding.
Yeah.
They had visiting press and this press. Like, it was awesome. Like that
it
press
was
box
awesome.
was jammed.
Walkthrough days were a thing, man.
Yes.
Like walkthrough days, what they bring meals in, and it's just packed. Like good luck getting your questions in. It was so good.
I remember Brian Hall crawling under the
Oh,
scrum,
holding his mic up.
and he's on kneeling, and he's
Tell me about your special teams.
like, yes.
Love that guy. Classic.
1974.
Love it.
It's
Miss
not like
it.
that anymore. Yeah, it used to be like that. I was in a Danny Machocha scrum in like 2009, 2008,
Yeah.
and there was like 8 cameras.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Oh, it was insane. And then I talked to Danny Machocha because he just watched the game just on the side of the bench.
Yep.
Very friendly guy.
He's
Yeah.
he's awesome. I know he has his strikes against him here, but he's a class act.
Yes, he won a Grey Cup here. I don't know what the problem is.
Absolutely, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won it twice because he celebrated a little bit too early.
Yeah,
the
he
first
did.
time around.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, good on him, man.
But he was very
Okay,
friendly.
here's my Danny Machocha story real quick.
Okay, tell
Not that it's here or there nor anywhere. 2015 Winnipeg for the Grey Cup. Edmonton hadn't won in 10 years. He was actually the last one to.
Yes.
He was working with the Les Carabins,
The
Montreal University, and I was in Winnipeg, and man, the papers just piled extra signs. We didn't think they were going to get here. Now we need all this stuff. We're doing all these supplements, whatever. Anything you can give us. I'm like, well,
Bless you.
how cool would it be to talk to Danny Machocha 10 years after he won his last? See what he thinks about Edmonton's run here. I'm asking around. I'm like, how do I get a hold of Danny Machocha? Because I'm not going through the university.
No, right.
Because also, he had his team in the championship.
Oh,
the Vanier
they were at the Vanier.
was the next day. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get this guy.
Right.
Phone rings, 11 o'clock at night. Hey, it's Danny Machocha. I'm like, no, you did not call me back on the eve of the Vanier Cup that
Really?
your team is playing in. Gave me a great interview. Asked him about the premature celebration. He laughed and gave me great. Man, that just solid dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what and he came and like talked to me, and I was like, finally at the end of the game, like it was in the fourth quarter, I just went out to him like, Danny, you have a good team, man. He goes, it's early, but I like them. And I'm like, yeah, I would too.
But it all goes back to expectations, right?
Right.
Like this town has high expectations.
I like that he called you the night before.
I
man.
like that too. I will
a big deal.
forever be in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very friendly. Gold Medal Mark says, double E are on the long road bad. Expectations are not realistic. Positive, but can't expect the turnaround so quickly. They've been bad for more than a few years now. Well said, gold medal Mark. This one says, do you guys consider the Bombers to be a dynasty by making it to 5 straight Grey Cups, even though they've only won 2? Gee, what would you say?
Only 2. Come on.
They've won 2 and been to 5 in a row.
Come on. That's you know what? Okay. I would say that puts them in the same class as what the Calgary Stamps were in the Huffnagel era, 08 to 18 or 19 or whatever. They were the class of the league, man.
Yeah.
Didn't always win the Grey Cup, but boy, they were the team everybody wanted to emulate during the regular season. It's hard to win. It's hard to win championship. Everybody looks back and be like, oh, 5-0. Like that stuff does not happen anymore.
Yeah.
You are never going to see that again. To make 5 in a row even, when will we see that again? I don't know. So, yes.
They might make it 6 in a row, quite frankly. I know it's a long season,
We'll
but
see.
what would you say about the dynasty and the Bombers? 1, 2 of 5 that they've gone to Grey Cup-wise.
Yeah, they have a great program there. They've done a great job. But you're right. It's hard to. You're absolutely right about the Calgary Stampeders. They were the best. And then every time they'd lose, it'd be like big, and in Edmonton or the Calgary side, choke. Like every time they would lose, they'd call them chokers. I'm like, come on, guys. Like it's not easy to win. Yeah. But if you're, as Ken Holland used to say, if you're just in the dance every year, eventually you'll break through. And I think, they're the class of the league to me, right there. Like they've set the standard, and you got to go out. Saskatchewan having a good year though. They're off to a good start.
Sasky should be pretty good. All right, hour number 2 of the EST Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk, brought to you by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts. More than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider, Sentinel.ca. Oh, that was a good one. Tom Gazzola, Gerry Moddejonge from PostMediaNHL.com, Derek Van Diest from NHL.com, Betty Thompson with you on this Monday edition of the Hangout. You can text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. I don't have it on YouTube, so have you seen anything in the nasty chat? Anything good, Benny?
It's been good. It's been a lot of good chatter here. Yeah, I haven't hasn't been anything too much to like bring up in conversation, but yeah, a lot of good chat going on in the nasty chat.
That's why we have it.
Yep.
That's why we have it. Oklahoma City Thunder, NBA champions.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Bueller, I watched it.
I didn't.
I have a rant for it.
Do you? Okay, go. Floor is yours.
The worst championship presentation ever in all sports. It is so bad. From the start to the end, it is brutal. You bring out this big stage, you get the trophy out, and you hand it off to the owner. I hate that.
I hate that too.
I hate that. Like the owner, I couldn't care less. They do a million interviews before they hand out the trophy. 1 or 2 is fine. Just get out one out of the way. I understand interviewing Shea, whatever. They hand out the trophy to the owner, and then they do another interview with 2 other players. They haven't even awarded out Finals MVP yet. They hand out the trophy first before Finals MVP. That makes no sense to me. Then they do Shea. He gets his trophy, raises up, blah blah blah, and then they do 6 more interviews. While there's nothing going on. It's literally just everyone on stage, and it's just a reporter with her mic. Just 6 interviews.
That is awkward.
It should be them celebrating. It is the worst. To me, it's the worst celebration for a championship in sports. Brutal. I was losing my mind.
Did the fans even get excited when they won?
Well, it was OKC. I'm sure they were excited in OKC. You've been there. What's it like?
Well, they love the Thunder. That's their team. It's the one big team outside of OU and OSU. I know that, but it just seemed maybe it goes to what Benny was saying. It was such a weird procedure to give out the championship trophy. I'm watching they were talking to Lou Dort, and he had the Canadian flag around, and he had the ski goggles on because they were going to pour beer on each other in the locker room, which is a bit silly, but whatever. And I'm like, did anybody stick around? Are they celebrating? Was there was Bricktown humming? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed very subdued and casual.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get the whole you get everyone up on a stage. And you hand off the trophy to the owner.
I hate that.
And then you take, it's like the owner raises it, whatever, and then it's like 2 minutes of that, and then they cut to more interviews, and then they do finals MVP after they handed out the trophy. So like it's so backwards. Like in the NHL, it's Conn Smythe, then the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's not the case in the NBA. You and then with the actual trophy, you should be handed it to the best player.
Yeah.
Well, a captain. Sure, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
They do that to the Super Bowl. They give it to the owner. Like it's.
But that doesn't make it okay.
No, it doesn't make.
Still
Hey,
stupid.
it doesn't make it okay to call themselves world champions either.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
That's
that.
the thing that bothers me.
No.
World champion.
World Cup is the
Americans
only one.
Right.
love to refer to themselves, even like they refer to themselves as the Stanley Cup champions, Stanley Cup world champions. Like I've
No.
seen that happen. No.
No.
Stanley Cup champions. You're not the world champion.
You're only playing in 2 countries?
Yeah.
That's not world
No,
champions.
but to the United States, they don't understand that there's actually countries outside of their own. I remember seeing a rant. Some guy on ESPN was talking about the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because this is an actual World Cup. There's actually different countries here. And I wanted to say, yeah, that's what it means
That's
to have
the
a
whole
world,
point.
to be world champions of your champions of everybody. Remember that sprinter was ripping on the NBA guys, like American sprinters? The world champions of what? The United States? He got heat for it. He was a sprinter. Can't remember who it was, and he was like, well, I'm out here competing against runners from all over the world. So when we win, we're actually beating people from all over the world. And you guys in the NBA call yourselves world champions? World champions are what? The United States?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. It was beautiful.
He's a controversial sprinter. I'm completely blanking.
It was he's like a top end sprinter.
not Usain Bolt, was
No,
it?
no, it was an American sprinter.
Oh.
It was an American
I'm
sprinter
blanking.
throwing shade on the NBA because the NBA was calling themselves world champions.
That's hilarious.
It was
No
awesome.
Lyles.
No Lyles, yeah.
Yeah, no Lyles.
World
But it's
champ-
true.
It is true. And then, but God forbid,
Got a lot of heat for it.
Yeah.
But he's right.
I know. I
He's
agree with him.
100% right.
I agree with him.
He's 100% right if you're outside of the United States, but
Yeah.
the United States
You're
think
not
the
a world
world.
champ.
is
Like, I
them.
understand it's the best players in the world playing in that league.
Okay.
But it's you're playing in the States. You're not. This isn't a world championship.
No.
It's
You didn't
like
beat Rome for the
Yes.
championship.
You didn't beat Barcelona.
You
You,
beat
didn't beat all the
Indiana.
other teams.
Yeah.
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 You
Exactly.
were beating players that are amongst. Like you're in
In
the
your-
same country. Like every team's in the same country.
Yeah.
Right. You're setting NBA records, not world,
World
records.
records.
Yes.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
the gold medal
But,
Olympic team.
Super
is
Bowl
world
does
champ.
that.
That's-
World Series. They call themselves
That one's
Yeah.
silly.
right. Like that's just the way the Americans are. Like they just call themselves world. They just want to be world champions.
Now, okay, this ties it together because I remember when I was in Oklahoma City, I was like out and about, and there was like a T-shirt shop, and it had a USA T-shirt that said "Back to Back World War Champion" or World War Champions. Yeah, I was like, what?
Back to back World War champions.
Maybe football can get away with it because where else in the world but North America do they actually? I mean, I know there's a little bit in Europe or whatever, but and hey, football actually had the audacity to call their game football, right? Like, let's take this from the most popular sport in
Right.
the world,
That is
and
a good point.
let's just take that over. Also, let's take over Sundays as well because nobody else owns Sundays. Nothing else happens that day.
No.
We'll make that football day.
God's day.
The audacity, but hey.
But now, okay, NFL has taken over Sundays. It's got Mondays,
man.
got Thursdays, Christmas.
Taking over Christmas from the NBA.
That is
in
a
one
ballsy move.
fell swoop.
Yeah.
Genius power play. I'm
Happens when
glued
you're a
next December
world-class
25th.
league.
I'm watching, man. But to go streaming like that, and bring it like, hey, here it is.
Yeah.
And it hit a home run.
They're leading the 4 major sports in North America, right? In terms
By
of,
far.
Yeah, in terms of just like
Everything.
demand. Like they got everyone by a chokehold. It
Yes.
feels like.
Easily.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more casuals amongst the other 3, but like football, it's hard to find someone that isn't like glued to the TV for a football Sunday or something.
Still have gate concerns, just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing, man. They have to, like, maybe streaming will come in and save the day for all these, but pro sports does not have that.
Well, they're starting to
in-person
price
draw.
themselves out of their fans.
That's-
I think a little bit.
that's
Like,
true, too.
NFL tickets are expensive, man. It's like,
They can be. Did you
That's
see
true,
that
too.
game in Carolina? I can't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, but they got a bad storm that came through. There was like 100 people in the stands.
yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I don't know. The Panthers suck, obviously, too. But I was like, oh my God.
There was a baseball game in Miami where like 164 fans showed up.
Recently?
Yeah, like a month ago. Miami, no one goes to Marlins Park.
Well, we've been to. Didn't you come?
No,
Remember
I've
when the
never
draft
been to
was there? I
Marlins
went to a Marlins game,
No.
and it was like 5,000 people, and it's a $1 billion stadium, open air, like it has a retractable roof.
Have 162 games a year and have opening pitch in the afternoon. Like who can actually go to that thing?
Yeah, getaway days on Thursdays.
Oh, man.
and got nobody there.
Still, if you can sneak away, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's like a license to print money.
Yeah.
Oh, the team in Vegas, speaking of baseball, like they don't even want them there. They don't want to build the stadium. They finally got funding for the stadium. Oakland wanted them. They wouldn't build them a stadium. They're playing in Sacramento, for crying out loud. They're not even called the Oakland Athletics.
And no one's
Sacramento.
watching.
Right.
They're just
Sacramento's
called-
like,
yeah,
okay.
they're just the Athletics.
Yeah.
They have a Vegas like sponsorship patch on their jerseys. Like that's a crap show.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if how they're received, because I know that the Golden Knights people felt that was their team because it was
Yeah.
the Vegas, and all these other teams moving in. They're not necessarily the Vegas teams, and one of the people in Vegas told me, and he's like, the locals don't go to the Strip. They
don't.
avoid the Strip.
Yeah.
It's like us with West Edmonton Mall. Unless you have to go, we don't go.
Yeah.
You don't go to like it's just a tourist attraction, and to be honest. After going back to Vegas this year, I'm like, I'm done with this city.
You spent so much time there.
I'm just like, oh, it's just too much. It's too much. It's ding, 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 ding all day. And it's like just too much for the senses. And it's getting ridiculous. Like you can't buy a beer or a meal without, mortgaging your house now there. Like it's so expensive.
They have priced themselves out, like
Yeah.
in Vegas. They have to like start to claw it back
Yeah.
because I think COVID. I was reading COVID. Everyone got cooped up, and so they were going on vacation when they could. Vegas was open very quickly. They found ways around COVID parameters, and then so prices just kept soaring. And they took away your buffets, they took away all the deals, and now it's not cheap. There's no more free parking anywhere.
No.
Like even if you go play a machine or you go play a table, and the waitress will come around and give you
Yeah.
drinks, you just have to
That
like tip
doesn't
her.
happen anymore. No.
Yeah, like apparently you wait for like half an hour and you might get a drink.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
changed.
No, it's completely changed. It's
So you're not
just-
buying a home there.
Not in Vegas, maybe in Summerland or something, someplace like that.
Well,
That's where like all the hockey players live. No one lives in Vegas. They all live in the suburbs and outskirts.
yeah, I do love
But
it.
it's 45 degrees in the summer.
Yeah.
Like that's hot. You talk about hot.
I know.
It was hot in Florida because it was like 30 degrees with humidity. It was like literally walking into a sauna.
Yeah.
Like imagine going in your clothes and walking into a sauna. That's what walking outside would have been.
I've
You want-
been there. I know.
it's crazy.
It's unpleasant.
It was very unpleasant. I'm like, I can see, if you're by the beach, you go to the beach every day, but oh my God, it's like you walk 3 blocks and you're like, ugh. And then every building you walk into, they're just hammering the AC. So you walk in from a sauna into like a freezer, like everywhere you go, and then from the freezer into the sauna. It's just, it's unpleasant.
It sounds like a lot of complaining to me.
I'm just saying, it was the weather.
Oh, you
Florida?
poor thing.
No war. I'm just saying the weather was not good.
He had to travel on a charter to Florida.
Not all on a charter.
Oh,
I have to
no,
come
what
back.
happened?
Well, the charter ends after game 6.
Oh, yeah.
Find my own way home. Yep.
How long was that travel day?
That was 15 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Woof.
Through where?
Through Denver.
Ugh. That's a bad airport.
It is only clear across the continent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
It is like, yeah.
Well, here, I'll ask you guys this. What are you going to do all summer?
Well, there's draft coming up on Friday.
Don't say work.
That's work. I don't know what I'm going to do this summer. Watch some baseball,
Yeah.
watch some basketball, watch some football. And then, I don't know. The good thing this summer, last year the Hangout tournament was here. That kind of ruined my summer. Because
That
for
was-
a week,
yeah.
I was terrible in August. I don't want to be in a hockey rink in August.
No.
It's
God,
brutal.
no. I'm hockeyed out. Are you hockeyed out, G?
Cleanse, buddy.
Oh, yeah, you're doing the cleanse.
Jesus, hockey cleanse.
Okay, you coaching again, your boy?
That's what I'm doing this
Okay,
summer. Yeah.
tell me about the joy of coaching your boy kids football because
man.
you're pumping it up before we start.
Yeah, because I'm just surprised I'm not hoarse because like coming in here, I had 3 practices last week and two last week, 3 the week before. U11 football, so Adam age kids. Man, you got to scream at them. They just do not follow directions.
Really?
Not early on in the year. And last year was my first foray into this world. But this year, man, I am ready to go. We're having no mumbo jumbo, and I am the bad cop of the coaching group.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, we have to start off right from the beginning. All right, we're doing handoffs to your left. You think
They don't know what
think
left is.
pretty specific instructions, pretty general knowledge, and no, it's first of all to get them to line up straight.
Yeah.
Before you can even get to the left and right fiasco is very tough. You know what? These kids are so good, man. They all come in, all want to learn, all want to go, all love the idea of football, and let's not forget, this is hockey town where soccer is also eating up all the amateur. Like, soccer's huge. So football has to carve its niche and get a foothold. But the kids love it, man. And I'm just waiting, praying for that point in the season where it just clicks. And
You said that was very rewarding.
That was awesome to see. All the pounding into their minds how this all works and how you got to do every little thing and take every step and you know what, the whole, and I don't know, I've coached soccer, but I haven't never coached hockey, but that whole thing where like you're only as good as your weakest link sort of thing is so true. Like it'll all fall apart if one kid's not paying attention or picking dandelions or staring at the clouds, right? So it's work to get them there, but once they do and they start, like, man, I just remember playing the first game last year, and I'm like, talking to coach, we don't know if these kids are ready. Like,
Right.
what's gonna happen? Like, are they even gonna know how to like line up, let alone play when the ball is snapped? And man, I just remember because I coach defense, because I know like offense is art, man.
Yeah.
Like, defense is just whatever, read and react. This is your guy. This is your whatever. It's so simple and straightforward. But when I saw them all like collapse on this ball carrier, and there was like, because it's 6-on-6, there's
Okay,
like 6 black helmets on this guy, and I'm like, I just wanted to machocha fall to my knees prematurely, like, this fantastic, yes, more of this. And they just get into it, and you know, you see the wheels start turning in their minds, and they just like, oh yeah, like go back to all the things that they've kind of been trained. It's not perfect by any means,
Right.
nor is that expected. But to see them like get it and make a play, it's like, man, I get it.
Is there passing?
Oh yeah, there's passing.
They can pass?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have to pass
Oh,
at least
okay.
2. Yeah, at least a couple times on your possessions. So yeah, it's not just hand the ball off and 2 yards in a cloud of dirt, like good old fashioned CFL used to be.
Right.
But yeah, it's just it's super rewarding, and I'm sad we couldn't have gotten your little nephew.
Oh yeah, I can't convince my sister to let him play football. So.
That's fair.
Big.
And athletic.
He was big. And
Yeah.
pretty
He
Plays
athletic,
every
so-
sport.
Yeah.
Except.
Well, his uncle couldn't catch a football last week.
Oh
It
well.
was over my head.
I threw it right to
It
you.
was over my head.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
He just couldn't catch.
He was also the guy who throws the ball to be caught.
You should have seen my
Wow.
first catch was brilliant. Ask your dad. I just like boom, right in the hands, and it was awesome.
Humble.
My first catch was brilliant. I was impressed.
So okay, well, like on the truck, like they brought the old truck back, by the way, and they brought Nanook back.
Nice.
I noticed
Yeah,
that.
Yes.
they brought. They
Yeah.
brought-
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yes, the new uniforms look good with the double E on.
They got
there.
rid of the old logo, like all that stuff about with
I
the old
don't
logo.
I don't see it around there very much, to be honest with you. I mean I didn't go to the team shop, but
The old logo's still like, but it's not anywhere on the field. It's not anywhere on
No.
the uniforms. It's not anywhere. You can't see the old logo.
I think they're phasing it out. Like they had a sale going on. It was like 55%
Yes,
off basically
saw
everything. I think they're trying to.
They spent
Get-
$3 million on that redesign, and I like the logo. I thought
It's
they did a great
nice,
job
but
with
like it was square peg round hole, right?
Yeah, but now you have double E. You bring that double E back, but I don't know. I like it.
Unpopular opinion.
Go for it.
I think if they would have just held off on that decision during the COVID shutdown to do the big name change, logo change, rebranding, I think they could have rode out I think they could have rode it out. I think they still could have been the Eskimos, and I don't think that would have been the worst thing in the world.
I personally think that we could see Eskimos again.
Think it'll come back, eh?
Yeah, I feel like
Will the fans come back at this point, or
that's
has it been
the big
too long?
question. I don't, man.
Dude, they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, butts in seats is important. Like there was, I think, 14,000 at that game.
That's what they announced.
Yeah.
Depending on
There wasn't a lot
who
of
you
people
talk
at
to,
football game. Might
that
as a
number
Thursday
could
night,
be
7 o'clock.
much
School's still on. Once school's out,
terrible.
more kids will be able to
Also,
go.
get rid of Thursday night games. I don't care if the broadcasters are determining how it works. People aren't showing up, and this is a gate-driven revenue league. Also, Sunday games should not be at 5 o'clock. Make them in the afternoon.
Yes.
I mean, I get why
agree
it
with that.
happens. I get that, yeah, the crowds are bad at games, but man, they're killing it. TV audience, I respect that and get that. But there's got to be some happy medium where it's not just all for one and not the other.
Week 1 in Sask was a Thursday, and they didn't get a good turnout either because people couldn't come into town like they do from all over the province. I remember watching that game, and I was like, oh man, even Sask. Like Winnipeg's obviously, I think they've had the best attendance the last few years.
Oh, that
team is great.
The team's great, but I
Team's
think
great. They got a great stadium.
They got a great stadium.
Yes, they
and
do.
yes, that stadium's had its construction issue. It's man, you walk in there, it feels like the Mecca now. It feels like yes, this is Canadian Football League at its finest. You know, you feel like you're somewhere when you're watching a game. You know, when you're driving up to it, it's not the easiest place to get to either there, but when you're like, I am going somewhere, and just felt great. It almost reminded me, the only thing that would make it better is if the old Canadian Stadium beer snakes would make a return.
Oh my God.
Because that was
beer snakes.
wild.
They took away, I was talking to Joey Alfieri, who used to be with TSN Montreal. Now he's an Alouettes communications guy. They took away the air horns at Alouettes games
Good.
because people were going deaf.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much of a good thing.
Well, anyway, but okay, so speaking to like Thursday and 14,000 people, Thursday, yes, that's an issue. Team hasn't been good. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup hangover. I was thinking about this too, guys. Actually, yesterday, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, have the Oilers, with the way they've priced everything, taken people's like the money they have to spend? Like, have they basically suffocated everybody's
this.
extra few bucks that they have
Perhaps
to spend?
it's possible.
I get
Yeah.
this.
And there's no extra income
Yeah.
because if you're spending money on Oilers tickets, and
Yeah.
sometimes you don't
Or
have.
saving up for next year's.
Right.
Oh, okay. How many people do you know were just beside themselves with distraught that there was no Game 7 coming back here, so they couldn't sell their Game 7 ticket and pay for their entire season seats next year?
And they jacked the prices up
they
50%
jacked
for
the prices
playoffs.
up,
Remember
yeah.
Larry Ring telling about? Yeah, like I could see that. G, seriously.
Yeah.
But that those extra bucks you have to go to a Stingers game, a Riverhawks game, even though those ones are super affordable. Elks games are affordable now.
Yeah, they are.
But I was thinking, I'm like, have the Oilers sucked everybody's extra money away, and now they can't spread it out to other teams and other sports.
Perhaps. But then there's so much. Like, it's tough for the Elks to start their season when the Oilers are like
It
just
is
in that
tough.
run. Like,
It is
that's
tough.
because you get lost. No one cares.
Hard to get
because
excited about.
everyone's excited about the hockey team.
Well,
hard.
sooner or later, the way money works, at least in my mind, they will hit a tipping point where they'll price themselves out. And
Yeah.
people are just going to be fed up, be like, I can no longer. I mean, it's hard to talk about that now when the team is winning and so close to that ultimate goal, hoisting hockey's holy grail. But how did they do it over that decade of darkness and still packing that barn?
That
Unbelievable.
was pretty good. That was impressive. I'm not getting into this one about the Eskimos' name. Corey B won a jersey last week. I'm going to pick it up this morning at the team store. I'll report back what I see. Okay, yes,
Nice.
Corey B. Let us know about the team store if you see the.
I think the
Elks had
logo's still around, but yeah, you're right. Maybe they're phasing it out.
You're right about the tipping point, though.
It can't all just be gravy. Sooner or later,
Yeah.
that boat runs dry.
How much is a jersey now? $300 a hockey
Oilers jersey?
Yeah, without a name.
Oh, even more than that.
Dude.
I think authentic ones are.
Good point. Not to jump in and interrupt.
No,
but
no.
There was a press release came out during the finals that Edmonton is the second highest, in whatever study they did, second highest ranked market for counterfeit merchandise, including jerseys and things like that.
You
like
see
if
a
you're,
lot of it.
If you're buying online, I know our buddy Pete's got one that isn't even trying to be authentic.
It's got to have it straight from China.
But if you're
the
buying
colors are all off. It's just
a hat online or a jersey, be careful what you're paying for this because it might not have that little shield of approval.
Well, yes, and the quality, I mean, suffers. I mean, I remember when I worked for the Oilers, that's when the introduction of the Chinese counterfeit knockoff jerseys were coming out, and you could tell like straight away, you're like, oh, that's a fake one. Like the numbers
Just a
were weird.
little
The
off
numbers are
color.
weird. The
and
colors are
striping.
the orange is really bright.
Yeah.
like,
You're
like I
like,
said, our friend Pete's.
You
Like,
got
oh
a
my
deal
God.
on that one.
You're blinded
Is it
me
our
with
buddy
that.
Pete or is it a different Pete?
No, that's our buddy Pete.
Our Pete.
That's
Okay.
the Pete you know.
He had
Oh,
the Oiler
he's a
jersey on. I'm like,
great guy.
Where'd you get that one, bud?
Did Kelly's have to make good on that bet with that bar down in Florida?
I think Pete took a picture and put it on his Facebook.
What was the bet? I missed that.
I think he had to put a picture up or something like that with the bar in Florida. So
Yeah, good for them. That makes it fun.
Wasn't the elbow room. I'm not a fan of it. You've been in the elbow room?
I've been to the elbow room. I
Not
think
a
it's
fan.
become like overhyped.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of it at all.
It's a dive bar. Like, let's not kid
total
ourselves.
dive bar.
Yeah.
You got to pay cash. You got to fight to get a beer. It's crowded. It's just like
It smells like cabbage and all this
It's
calorie.
Yeah. At the same time, I have no problem if buying cheap knockoff counterfeit jerseys becomes a trend because you pay so freaking much to get in the building, right? Like, hey, make it acceptable. You know what? If they're going to charge that much for tickets, maybe you don't swing by the team store. Maybe you order off a Temu.
Okay, Benny's gonna give us the update on the
Breaking
pricing.
news.
What?
Trevor Zegras is being traded
Philly. I heard.
to Philly
For?
Ryan Pelling, a second round pick and a fourth round pick.
That's not Ryan Paling, a second and a fourth.
Yeah, Trevor Zegras.
That is not a haul.
No,
That's a tell what people think of Zegras now.
Yeah, I like.
Who wins that trade, or is it just a dump?
I mean, it could just be like I don't mind that for Philly because it's like they're a young team that kind of just needs whatever. Like throw a flagger on him, if you will.
Good pun.
Thank you. I think it's worth it for Philly. Like if you're a young team that doesn't have a whole lot to lose right now, you're not a playoff team. Go give Drysdale his buddy because he gets go play with Drysdale again. He could be good in Philly, but yeah, like we said, like he just hasn't like turned out to be. I think the guy that everyone was talking about originally. Like he came in all flashy and it was like,
Yes.
oh, this guy is going to be a point per game, first line center, and hasn't really looked like that. So
No.
I don't mind the fit for him in Philly, but if you're Anaheim, I guess teams knew that their backs were against the wall with like knowing that he wasn't working out there, and like they have so many young centers like with Carlson and Gauthier, and so yeah, and McTavish too. I forgot.
Yeah, Mason McTavish. He's gonna be
So yeah, it makes sense. I like it for Philly though.
Any thoughts on that?
well, I think Philly is a team in the rise, obviously. So
Really? They're kind of meddling.
you think? I think
Yeah.
they're heading in the right direction. So
Yeah.
got rid of their bad coach.
Big G.
No opinion.
Nope. You're cleansed. I love this. I actually admire this. I'm
The
hockey,
hockey
cleansed. I'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
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 I wonder. Well, it's Rick Tocchet now in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Tocchet and Zegras.
Man,
Rick
how
the
the
Rocket.
mighty. Remember when he led Vancouver to the Pacific Division title?
A year ago.
2 years ago? Yeah.
2 years ago,
exactly.
pardon me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was only last year. If
2024.
this still counts, yeah. And to be out, to miss playoff,
And to walk away from Vancouver because you're
That
like,
just-
I'm not dealing with that
that
crap.
ju- yeah.
There's just so much problems. in
That just
Vancouver.
shows, man. To
There's
make
problems in Vancouver.
to even make Final Cup runs consecutively, let alone 3 like Florida, let alone 5 like Winnipeg, whatever. Like that's a thing, man. You cannot just brush it off. I mean, I know it's not what it's been let's face it, it's been a long time around here. There are generations of hockey fans who are raising their own generation of Oiler fans now who have not seen the Cup in their town.
Well, we were talking about this not long ago. I grew up so 90. I was 4 years old in 1990. My dad, I think, took me to the parade put me on his shoulders.
Nice.
Vaguely remember like that
Yeah.
bits of that, right? Then in the mid 90s, they're bad. Their teams that Joaquin was on. Then late 90s, remember they had like the miracle win over Dallas, the miracle win over Colorado the next year, and then Dallas just mopped the floor with them in the first round the next 4 years. Lockout happens. They go to the Cup final. You're like, oh, this team's going to be good. I like this salary cap era.
Yeah.
And then they suck for
Decade of darkness.
10 years.
Yeah.
And then now, you're right. Like, it was like a 20-year window of crap hockey here.
So it's got to be managed well
people
for the
kept
next
showing
5 or
up.
6.
Yeah.
So do you think McDavid goes 8 years, or do you think he signs for 5?
I think he does the 8.
Do you?
Yeah.
Where else is he going to go? Honestly,
Seriously.
where else is he going to go that gives him as good a chance as when you can't put him beside anybody better than Draisaitl. Those guys, and he was asked about it over the playoff run. Those guys communicate like twins out of the womb.
Yeah.
They don't have to. They give a glance and they know what each other's doing. Right?
You don't leave that.
No.
No, I don't think you leave that.
Plus, who else is going to pick him up? Right? You gotta get rid of half your team.
Well, I'd get rid
Right.
of half my team if
Yes.
I had to.
Yeah.
Okay, but not every team can do that and be like, we'll still be, honestly, owner, we'll still be good. We'll just clear off all this space, right? Like
Yeah.
teams are built around their star players who don't make as much as McDavid's going to make next year.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt.
I think he's too entrenched here. And you know what the funny thing is, too? Awanik said this last week. Benny put it on a social media clip for us, and it's still, people are like replying to it. He can't sign anywhere else this offseason.
No, not this offseason.
He still has
Not
a
this
year
offseason.
left. And people are like, oh, he's
But
signing, he's
he,
leaving.
but he
He's like,
doesn't have to sign that extension either.
exactly. That is true.
Yeah. So once July 1st comes, the clock starts ticking.
Yeah. I think he stays.
And you know what? He's saying all the same things. Like everybody's trying to read between the lines. Oh, what does he mean?
Nothing to
He's
read.
saying all the same things as Leon did last year. He's
Exactly.
taken that as his baseline, his go-to. Oh, this is how I answer this question, and it's meaningless at this point.
Yeah.
He wants to take his time. Who cares? That's why they're doing it this summer and not waiting till
Gee.
right.
He's cleansing himself of hockey
Oh my
right
God,
now.
he's a genius.
Yes.
Those guys are somewhere in Mexico right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I need to mention that the official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink, Legend of 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. You can get long drink at Rogers Place, although it's going to be a little bit quieter around there after a long hockey season.
Any good concerts this summer here?
I don't know. I think there
Katy
are.
Perry is coming.
Is she? Weekends at Commonwealth.
Katy Perry, it's right here.
Katy Perry. I'm blanking. I think
Not
it's
like
country-
Metallica last year.
Oh,
Yeah,
last
that
year.
was a big
You
one.
guys had fun.
Yeah, big close shows.
Yeah.
There's some
Pantera.
country. I think I can't remember who.
Morgan
Wallen.
Wallen.
Morgan Wallen's coming, I think.
Isn't Bruno Mars coming here too?
Would shock me.
But there's no big stadium concerts.
Those are the Morgan Wallen one.
Morgan
is,
Wallen
Bruno Mars-
weekends and
Morgan Wallen could walk into this room. I wouldn't know who he was.
Same here.
There's
But,
that Hard Rock Festival coming.
Was there?
All
Where's
the bands
that?
are going to that.
oh,
Drawing a
you're
blank right
going
now.
though, aren't you?
Down where Northlands Raceway was. They're
Oh,
holding something down
okay.
there, like right
the
away
track?
too in July. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
That Hard Rock when they had, what did they have here? Poison, they had Def Leppard, they had a bunch of.
Oh yeah. That'd have been.
I
That'd have been
call
a
them
blast.
soft metal
Man.
bands, but they were pretty fun.
Hair glam bands, hair metal bands.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's like going to see the circus. Now.
Oh, did I tell you that the owners invited my buddy Brian that discovered Metallica to practice in Florida?
Did he show up?
Yeah.
Nice.
He was pretty excited.
Brian's a great dude.
I like. Can you tell a story about Brian and when Stoff had no clue who he was?
Oh, in Florida, this was in Dallas.
Yeah, this was the third round, right?
Yeah, third round. Well, Brian Slagle, you've met him, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I've never met him, but I know of him.
Okay,
Heard
So
the
Brian
stories.
Slagle,
It's his buddy.
friend of mine.
No big deal.
Well,
I got Brian's concert ticket when he wasn't
Yeah,
coming
he
up here
wasn't
for Iron
coming, yeah.
Maiden,
Right.
so he's a good dude in my books.
Yeah.
So Brian is a really, really good guy, really humble guy, and so he was working at a record store in the early '70s or whatever, '80s, and there was this demand for heavy metal music, and there wasn't really a heavy metal scene in the United States yet. So he would get friends to send him heavy metal records from Europe, and then he would put them out, and then people would buy these heavy metal records. Then he said, okay, if anyone has like a metal band that they we'll put a compilation record out, And that'll be the beginning of the heavy metal scene. And so he was friends with Lars Ulrich, the drummer for Metallica.
Right.
And he goes, do you want to put a band together? He goes, oh, yeah, we can put a band together. Okay, go find a guy. Find 3 guys. And they put the Metallica. And so Metallica puts a thing on this compilation record that became a massive hit. Like it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And the heavy metal movement in Los Angeles, United States grew. And so he's got his own record label now. He's like the king of heavy metal. And he's friends with Metallica. So he loves hockey. He's a huge hockey guy.
Right.
So that's the crazy thing.
I know.
What we take for granted.
Yeah. He loves it. And like to the extent that he said, I was up in Edmonton for the World Juniors in 95 or whenever it was up here.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's got season tickets to the Kings, season tickets to Dallas because his girlfriend lives there, and he had season tickets to Vegas for a while. So for a while, he had season tickets to all 3 games. I think he said he got rid of his Vegas season tickets. Anyway, we're in Dallas. So he's spending more time in Dallas, less time in Vegas because that's where his girlfriend lives. And so invited us out to dinner, and we were out to dinner at Moxie's of all places. I guess
But Moxie's there is
a
like
little
the
different.
place to go to.
Moxie's is a little different
And
than
it
Moxie's
is
here.
the same Moxie's we have here in Canada.
It's the same Moxie's,
Yeah.
but it's like
Different
the place
vibe.
to be.
Yeah.
And
like-
it's a little more expensive for
Yeah.
whatever reason. So this Moxie's was right beside the Oilers Hotel, the Crescent Courts in Dallas.
Great hotel. One of my favorites.
So we go there. So Brian, I got introduced to him 3 years ago in Vegas, and we sat. I remember one night in a hotel in Vegas, in the lobby, just shooting, talking hockey all day. And I told him my claim to fame was that I refereed Iron Maiden at a soccer
did.
game that one time, and he thought that was kind of funny, and I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, so we're sitting there, so we're having dinner. So it's me and the NHL guys because we're all friends with Brian, and Bob Stauffer was there. And Bob Stauffer, his friend is Cal Nichols.
Yep. Ken Nichols.
sorry.
Cal's son.
Sorry, Ken Nichols,
Yeah.
Cal's son, and which I'm friends with too. I grew up with him as well. So Ken has done exceptionally well in business, and now he lives in Dallas. He lives in the Dallas area down there. Moved down there, so he's doing exceptionally well. He's doing well. So Bob and him obviously went out for dinner, and then Bob came over. And the thing about Brian is that he's a multi-millionaire. You wouldn't know it because he's just such a humble guy. T-shirt and jeans. T-shirt and shorts, just a humble little guy.
Just a dude. Likes
just
hockey.
a dude likes hockey.
Black T-shirt.
Of course.
Yeah. A dude that likes hockey. He just likes to talk hockey, and Bob came over and met him and said, what's going on? Oh, this is my friend Brian. What do you do? I'm a music producer. Oh, nice to meet you. Kind of walked away, but didn't realize. A lot of people don't because they don't realize the extent of what he is. And then when I brought Brian to practice, why is he here? It's like, this is Brian Slagle, man. You don't know who Brian Slagle is? It's like, no. He's like
The godfather.
the godfather of metal in
Yeah.
this country, man. Like
Big
he
gold
discovered
medal mark
Metallica.
music. Yeah.
And so he was like, what? And then you get a sense that he's going, oh, man, I would have schmoozed him a little more. Because
Yeah.
he's good at schmoozing.
Stuff like schmoozing.
Yeah. But it was good. The Oilers were nice enough. Jamie invited him. We were talking, and Jamie said, invite him down to practice. So I said, Brian, the Oilers wanted to invite you down to practice. So they came down to the practice rink, got the basically just behind the scenes, got to check it out. And he met Paul Maurice. Introduced him to Paul Maurice.
He'd have loved that,
Talked
man.
to him, and then he came down, and I think he knew Adam Henrique. Adam Henrique knew who he was. He's like,
Oh.
what are you doing here? So, because Adam's from California.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Oilers have metal heads in their room, like guys that are big metal guys.
If there is Adam Henrique, I can see being one
Yeah,
of
I
them.
can see me one of them. So he talked to Adam Enrique, and it was like he loved it. And then he got to hang out press conference. Like he said, it was like you guys gave me the glimpse to behind the scenes of what you guys do. It's like going backstage after,
Right.
Hell yeah.
which we were hoping to do last year because he said he was coming, but he never did. If I come to Edmonton, I'll introduce you to the band. I'm
next
like,
time.
that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Next time.
You only need to do that once in your life.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
like you
Band.
said.
Well,
yeah.
That'd be pretty sick. But he did hook you guys up with. You guys were
Well, he
right on the
was
floor,
supposed
right?
to be with Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Like Iron Maiden a couple years ago, and then what happened was he was going to come for Iron Maiden, so he bought the tickets for the show because he wanted to see the building, he wanted to come down. I was like, oh, that's great. So I bought tickets to the show too. And what happened is they opened the Dome, the Sphere in Vegas,
Right.
right, with YouTube.
Yeah.
So he's a big music mogul, so he had to be at the Sphere thing, and so
Right.
he gave us his tickets to Iron Maiden.
We were across the aisle from the Iron Maiden wives. The Iron Maidens themselves, like they did not fit in there. No. And then all of a sudden the show was over, and they like just beeline down, and security takes them. I'm like, yep. That was
But
it.
it was the perfect sight line.
Oh,
Like, he actually knew.
greatest
He's
spot
been to
ever.
so many concerts. Like he knows the exact place to. So we were sitting in the seats. And I was like, this is great.
So good.
Iron Maiden was fun.
Night of my life, baby.
Yeah,
Love
it was a
that.
fun time. And then Metallica last year was fun. And
Okay. Portions of this hour I have to mention, brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. From the premier golf facilities to the corporate branded products, the Ranch is your all-in-one tournament host, proud host to over 100 tournaments each year, including 120 tournaments each year, actually, including the EST Golf Classic. They're here to help you execute all of your tournament ideas. Book your tournament today. Visit theranchgolf.com.
that's what I'll do. I'll start. I haven't hit a golf club.
Are you coming to our tournament?
I wasn't invited.
Oh, well, that's Matthew's fault. You blame him.
I don't remember.
Blame
I don't remember being
him.
invited. But I could do that. I could actually pick up golf this year. And be
Yes,
really
you
good
could.
at it.
I golfed yesterday. My body is in pain right now.
Yeah.
I have
Maybe
not
that's what
swung
I'll
a
do.
club in
I'll
like a
swing
month.
it. I'll swing more
Yeah.
golf clubs this year.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get to a couple of texts here. 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Tom Gazzola, Gerry Moddejonge, Derek Van Diest, and Benny Thompson with you. How much are Elks tickets? Les Nessman's landlord is asking. I took my son 2 years ago. $100 a seat is too much for CFL.
No, I don't go.
If you're a part of CDMFA, minor football,
Yeah.
$16.
$16?
Maybe not the best
I
seats,
think
but
our
it'll
tickets.
get you in.
Well, we're paying what?
Well,
I
think it's $45 a
I think
seat.
we split season.
Oh,
We're
good
split-
good
yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
That's the way to go.
Well,
Get good,
Yeah.
get good spots
Yeah.
for
405 section D.
Yeah, we're right behind
Right.
the Elks bench. Well, the seats are right
Right
behind the
behind
Elks
the
bench.
bench, perfect football catching location.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
What?
Why do CFL teams, when you get to the point where they have to rope off the upper bowl, like we saw in BC before, which has since been opened up right away,
Yeah.
and hopefully that will follow suit here at some point.
That'd be great.
Why do they rope off the upper deck? Why not rope off the ends
I don't know.
and keep that midfield sight lines and everything and up high? People love to watch from up high sometimes.
yeah,
and
that was a complaint, but they were down to like 3,300 season seats in the top deck here in Edmonton at one point. So they're just like, hey, screw it. Closing it.
I get it, but
But they opened it last year for the big games, right?
No.
No? I thought
No.
Calgary came in here.
Calgary was like 30,000. It was all lower.
Calgary
lower bowl.
was full, but lower bowl, yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah. That was pretty good, though.
I remember, yeah,
Full lower bowl
yeah,
last
yeah, yeah.
year.
And they swept. They swept the Labor Day Series for the first time in forever. Yes, Calgary's on a downtrend, but then they changed QBs right after that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
From BLM, they're like, oh no, this is Trey's team because we said, like, what a mess. And then Trey came in, and then they had back-to-backs against Winnipeg.
Yep.
They win one of those, they're in the playoffs, man. But they
know.
got just
Killed.
Just
I
That one
wasn't a
game,
fan of BLT or whatever.
MBT.
yeah, MBT, McDLT.
BLT. Bacon, lettuce,
I
tomato.
know it wasn't
What are you
BLT.
having for lunch today, DVD?
I was kidding.
Oh, my
I know
God.
Phil Thompson. I just threw that BLT out there. I wasn't a fan of his. I didn't think he. I don't know. I'm very critical at quarterbacks. If they can't throw the ball 15 yards down the field, then what are you doing?
But that's what this organization is at. They have to reach out and grab whoever's there.
Yes.
They need to fix this somehow.
Get people in
some,
there.
I don't know, some scout down there somewhere. You have West Coast scouts. You have all these guys. Get some guy.
There's
I mean,
200 leagues, 200 NCAA teams down in Division I teams in
Yeah.
the States. Find yourself a quarterback. Like, it shouldn't be that hard.
there is, but there's also spring football is taking away from it now and things like that.
Mind you, though, I was in States. Spring football, it's hard to find that whatever the XFL, whatever the league is called.
UFL. It's not doing well.
It is awful. Like, and
Yeah.
and I saw it on TV, and there's 10 people in the
But
stands.
until it's
Yeah.
dead, NCAA guys are want to
They
stay
don't wanna
there.
come up
And want
here.
to.
Yeah. No, they don't want-
It's hard to explain when you're the hometown hero back in the deep south that I play pro football, but it's up in Canada, and people just switch off, right?
Yeah,
Like
that
those guys they don't give it the time. Although CFL games are making headway down there in viewership. Like
I have
that's
friends
that's
watching on
great.
CBS downs. They're like, "What are you doing on my TV?" I'm like, "Working."
Hey, football fans, you want spring football? Look up here.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Texan says Costco has Elks vouchers, 2 seats for $59.99.
Nice.
No,
That's
it's
not
just an
30
affordable
bucks.
ticket.
Yeah.
It's affordable ticket.
Yeah. Well, Belsey got season seats, and speaking of like the north end zone, they're in the party deck, and I think it's like $17 a ticket per game.
Emerson brags to all his friends that he has season tickets.
He does have season
That's
tickets.
cool.
I was like,
That's
no,
cool.
for Emerson, there's Emerson season tickets. He's got to go.
D-Rex Texan says season tickets for kids under 18 are $76 anywhere in Commonwealth.
Nice.
I have 2 season seats for myself and my son for under 500.
That's real smart, man.
Under $500, yeah.
See, the problem that the Elks have right now is the last guy decided it was a good idea that all he wanted was butts in the seats, so he was going to give tickets away.
Yeah.
Now they're at the point where like, no, that is an absolute trash business model.
devalue, yeah.
The
You've
last
taken
guy was
away
a bit of a fraud.
the last guy. The last guy was what he was. There's a reason he left halfway through the year, and like good riddance. But now they're left holding the bag on. Everybody's like, oh, I can just pick up free tickets anywhere. And it's like, no. Like
I'd say once you give
this is-
something away, it's tough to start.
it
Well,
is
you
tough.
lose the value.
Well, look at
It
the
is.
newspaper industry, right? Started giving it away online, and then why would I buy a
Dude,
newspaper when I can just
exactly.
read it online? That was the number one complaint. It was like, why are we giving this product away? And that was the advertisers. They said, oh, because we can advertise online and we can, advertise pennies for what you were getting dollars for in paper.
and then social media came in and stole all the
They steal all the
advertising.
content.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
But good point. Make it affordable for families and
Yeah.
kids still. Get them down there.
Yep.
I mean, you're just working on your next generation of fan. But do they have any money left over after that?
you have to get the kids in.
huge
And
runs
tell
in
you
a
what,
row.
there's lots of kids. Like Emerson goes down, there's a bunch of kids there. You got to get those kids down there. He loves going.
They-
Yeah, you do.
It is the disposable income thing, I feel like.
I think so.
Yeah, but one thing I do like that they have started a few years ago and continues is they get the kids on the field at the end of the game.
Yeah,
cool.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Let
Let the kids go on the field and let them run around and
sear that memory and
Yeah.
Those
wanting to go.
players that want to stick around and
Yeah.
they can. There's an interaction there
Well,
that
that's a
you'll
good thing.
never get in the NHL.
that's a cool thing. Letting the kids on the field.
This text comes in, says, I remember seeing a video of Darren from System of a Down being a huge Oilers fan. That was random and awesome. Yes, he was a season seat holder in Anaheim, and I think he's the guitar player. And I met him because he was a huge Oilers fan, and we talked to him during an intermission. Really nice guy. That was during the Decade of Darkness. So there are a lot of like stars that are Oilers fans, and you're
Yeah,
like,
musicians and
oh,
stuff.
that's weird.
Did you meet Kevin Smith? Wasn't he a big Oilers
Kevin
fan?
Smith, yeah, I met him. I actually saw he was here this year. Did you see him wandering around the hallway? I didn't even say hi to him. I just let him. He was looking at photos on the
No, I
wall.
didn't see him.
Yeah, it was just
Heard
like-
he's lost a ton of weight.
He has
You
lost a
probably
lot of
wouldn't
weight.
recognize him.
no, you can
that
tell
one.
it's him.
Is it?
Yeah, he still wears like baggy clothes and he's
Trench
got the
coat
beard.
and
Yeah, the
backwards
trench
hat.
coat. Yeah. Dirty Dawn texting and says, "Hey guys, I'm just tuning in. My phone just sent me a notification. There's a trade for Swayman. Is this true?" No.
Oh, this is the time where you get all these fake accounts.
Yes.
These people don't have anything better to do than to make a fake account.
Yes.
There was a Sarah Valley fake account that tweeted that, Stuart Skinner had demanded a trade.
And a former NHLer came to. I was downtown, and former NHLer was like, "Hey, Skinner wants to trade." I was like, "Give me a second." So I like text a couple of people, and I come back. I'm like, "You got bad intel, man. Shouldn't you know better? You played in the
It
league."
was a fake Sarah Valley
Yeah.
account. Like, so we got someone tuned it in to me too, and I went to Frank's. I couldn't find it on Frank's tweet, and then I kind of looked, and then it showed up on my feed. Some guy had fake.
Frank
Wrong,
Cervelli.
Sarah Valley.
I don't mind those. It's like it's the NHL's version of the Sentinel in the NBA. They have NBA Sentinel and NBA Central.
Right.
And so Sentinel is always all the fake stuff, and all the players in the NBA like joke about it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like actually
funny.
hilarious.
You got to
Like,
be careful. You gotta
Yeah,
be careful.
you be careful.
We got you tweeting. I remember Dave Mitchell once in the middle of a press conference said, "Oh, Dustin Penner's been traded to Ralph Kruger," and Ralph's
Yes.
like, "Oh, okay." And then it's like, "Dave, that's a fake account." "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Dude, you're supposed to be a journalist, Frank." I know.
Then they did trade.
Then they did trade
Dustin.
him eventually, but
Yeah.
not right in the middle. Before we log off, I just want to say before we forget, we're talking about football.
Yeah, we also have to get to
my high school football and soccer coach passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Joe Petroni, I know those who know Joe Petroni. He's a huge in the soccer community. He's huge football. He was a teacher for ours in Holy Trinity, so a lot of students remember him. Joe Petroni was he played for the national team for Canada. He came here from Italy, played for the national team in the I think he said the Commonwealth Games in Winnipeg, and he got to meet the Queen.
Oh, cool.
That was pretty cool. I was my teacher there for a long time. Taught us football. went to play football. I think it was Idaho. He was a kicker there, and then he got to go to Dallas Cowboys training camp. So he was at Dallas Cowboys for about 6 weeks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was a kicker there. So he was. I know he was. I just want to say that for people who don't know, I know we're trying to get word around. Gene Principe is always a good friend of his. I texted Gene the other day. So it sounds like he had pancreatic cancer and passed away.
That's awful.
Just to his family and everyone that knew Joe Petroni, like he was a big guy in the soccer community and the football community around here. So
That's very sad too.
We installed the Dallas Cowboy offense on our football team and just walked over everybody.
Just had the playbook.
He goes, I need a quarterback that's smart enough to run this. I think you're that guy. I'm like, okay, I guess so.
That's
It was
funny.
really good.
Free playbook.
It was a free play. It was awesome.
All right, let's get to over under, and yes, we send out our condolences to the Petroni family and friends. Thank you for bringing that up. That is good. I did see that. But somebody had posted about that, so it's good. Good that you mentioned that. Let's go. Play Alberta over under. It's time to turn up the fun with the all new Play Alberta app, your digital destination for casino, live dealers, lottery, instants, and of course, sports betting. New players can get started with a $100 casino bonus by depositing $20 with promo code 100casino or a $100 free bet using 100 sports. Play smart, play local. Don't forget to use your game sense. Before Labor Day, because since we're talking about the Elks quite a bit here, over under on Elks wins. I'll put it at 3.5.
I'd say 4.
And they're already 0-2. So
Yeah.
you take the over?
Yeah. They got how many
Between
games
now
before
and
Labor
Labor
Day?
Day? Well-
8 games? 7 games?
Yeah. They'll have 7 games before Labor Day because it's right at the halfway point, I believe. What do you think?
Oh, I got to go over.
Over 3.5? So you take the over?
I think
I'll be optimistic. I'll go over as well.
They'll figure it out. They got a good coach. What I do
figure it out.
like is they're obviously committed to Ford because I was like, when are they going to pull him? When are they going to pull him? And they didn't pull him.
Right.
So they're going to commit to him. They probably said, listen, you got 5 or 6 games, and then we'll start. Because you can't play musical quarterbacks. But to me, Cody Fajardo, pretty good
He's a good
quarterback.
quarterback. Benny, first of all, you're over under.
Over.
You're taking the over. Everyone's
over.
taking the over. Okay, good. I like that there's positivity and hope there. Mark Killam was asked after the game, did you ever consider putting Fajardo in for Ford? And he just said, nope. And he left it at that.
He's his guy. And I kind of commend him for that. And I'm pretty sure they had the discussion with both of them is that you got, 4 or 5 games to prove yourself that you're the starting quarterback.
Yes.
If you start moving him too early, then you start messing with his head. This is your team for the next, let's say, 6 games.
Sure.
And if it doesn't work out, if you're 1-5, then we're gonna have to
That's right. They have a plan.
have
If
a
it doesn't
plan.
work out, at least they stuck with it
stick to the plan.
for their plan.
Which I admire.
Don't start second guessing yourselves.
I admire. But I do think that Trey Ford has to be more of a not a quarterback of chaos. Which I know, like that's when he's at his best, when he's running around trying to make something happen. But you can't do that every play.
He had 1 pocket pass against BC. Now, don't get me wrong. He got flushed out a little bit. Didn't have Brett Boyko in for that first game. Boyko and Ivy were back last game. Beard and Cordy got nicked up, though, against Montreal. That's concerning, so we'll see. Guys, we have a couple minutes left. Corey B has reported back to us from the Elks team store.
Nice.
Says the team store is still full of Elks merch. They took some pictures, so I made sure to wear my EST merch. Nicely done. You can get your EST merch at the Hive Product Marketing and on our website, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Big G, I love this hockey cleanse. I'm very
Should try it out
I want to.
try it out until
I'm
Friday.
I am hockeyed out.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
I only have the oil stream coming up at noon.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can because the drafts.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And then free agency.
And then once the draft's over, then you're like, once free agency's over, then they're gonna have development camps, and it goes all year.
I will not be at development camp. I guarantee you
There
that.
won't be anyone there. Will they even have? Did they even have a development camp last
They
year?
didn't.
They're like, we don't have any prospects.
They
so that's the
never
point.
touched the ice, remember?
That's right.
They flew them in, never touched the
They did
ice.
team bonding.
They did some team bonding.
They
stuff
played
and-
pickleball. and-
Yeah. They didn't get on the ice because there was like, what's the
man.
point?
So we're talking to him and so how's prospect camp?
Like, who's good at pickleball?
Yeah. So we'll see. But hey, it was a fun season though.
Yeah, it was.
man.
Right. No, it really was.
As much as we ripped at them, they came up 2 games short.
Ran out of gas.
Big G.
Thanks for having me on
Wow,
again.
it was great having you on.
Love
DVD,
making
good
it
to
in
have
here.
him on,
Appreciate it.
obviously.
I mean, this is what we sit around Kelly's talking about anyways, so why
This
not-
is true.
Why not put
We
some
just have
mics
the
up?
show there and just have the beer.
Just have the show there.
Well, we've done that before. We did the one. It feels like ages ago, but we remember
Did the
there was
one show at
Winter Bowl,
Kelly's, yeah.
the Winter Festival that they did
Yeah,
downtown. And we did the pre and post game from
It's
Kelly's.
From Kelly's. It was great.
Yeah,
It was
Kelly
great.
still doesn't know my name.
That's fine. That's
she
fine.
doesn't
Yeah.
know most people's names.
Pete
she's
does.
everybody's friend.
Scotty does.
love-
Stevie
we love her.
does.
Everybody
Kim.
knows this guy's
Well,
name. He
he's
is the
mayor,
norm
yeah.
of
Yeah.
Kelly's.
Yeah.
Well, if I don't show up there, like Pete will be like, "Where are you?"
They
"I
would
haven't
send
been here in
out
a
the
week."
search party. Yeah,
They will. You haven't been here in a week.
He put in a shift after the football game the other day.
nice.
I did. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. That's gonna do it for the EST Hangout. Boys, thank you for coming in.
Of course,
Appreciate
anytime.
it.
Yeah,
It was
it's
a lot
fun.
of fun.
I do want my logo jacket, my 5 Timers Club. I think.
We can get that. It's made of velour. Maddie,
Excellent.
Maddie handcrafts it himself.
Excellent. And if it's a house coat, even better.
Yeah, he took Ready, Set, Sew in high school.
He said so.
That was the name of the course. Big thank you to Derek Van Diest for NHL.com, Gerry Moddejonge from Post Media and NHL.com. For Benny Thompson, DVD, and Gerry, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Coming up next, it's the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss. Don't go away. I'll be back with the oil stream at noon. Ciao for now.
Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanek, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today